Got my head down when I was young. It's not my problem. It's not my problem.
All right, here we are. Welcome to the Prospect Podcast. Coach DePascal here. Coach Schuman dealing with some off the pod issues. Nothing too serious, nothing crazy. Hopefully he will be joining us. If not, then I am more than happy to kind of take the reins and run with it this morning with our great guest here, Georgia Miller. She is a sports psychologist with Rooted Sports Psychology. I'm extremely excited to have her on, talk some crazy stories, some issues, some things that are, I think it's such an important topic nowadays with, all the mental health stuff that's going on. I'm sure she's seen some things kind of change in the last couple of years and whatnot and bring more awareness to it. Georgia, thank you for taking the time and welcome to the Prospect Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Coach. I'm excited.
Not a problem. I will preface this too. Georgia is joining us from sunny Miami, Florida. Take that for what it is as we sit here and deal with, sub 40 temperatures, frost on the ground, all that fun stuff. So
I had my fair share of winters. I did Michigan and Massachusetts. I earned Florida.
You did it. You did. Because listen, I will absolutely. God bless you. Minnesota is a beast in itself. And then, listen, Dave and I are both New England college guys in terms of that. So we understand what, a Massachusetts and a New England winter can be. But so, yes, you have very much earned that. Georgia, tell our audience and our guests a little bit about yourself, how you got into this world, and kind of where you're at now.
Yes. So I do have to correct you. My official title is not sports psychologist.
Go ahead.
I can't take it away from the people who have the PhDs. Go them. I only have my master's. So my official title is sports psychology consultant or mental performance coach. And I've been in the field for over 3 years now. And I went to grad school at Springfield, outside of Boston, got my master's in athletic counseling.
Great school.
Yes, great school. I always thought I would be a volleyball coach. Volleyball was my sport in college, and I knew I wanted to do something with athletics, coaching, but then I fell in love with the mental side of it. So went to grad school and then immediately went into, I was working for a different private practice, and then I launched my own private practice this last year. And I'm also an adjunct professor at Springfield where I teach a class and mentor graduate students. So that is what I'm doing now. And majority of my day-to-day, I'm working with athletes one-on-one. That's 90% of my work. And then I also work with lots of coaches, parents, and teams as well.
That's absolutely phenomenal. I love that. I love that track. I love that you were kind of obviously an athlete in itself. We have a lot of discussions on here, and I'm not saying anything that, people in this field or just the sports world itself had to play a sport at a high level in order to kind of really grasp it or to understand it. But I do think it checks one of those boxes when you're dealing with certain clients that kind of, understand it a little bit more and kind of, they give you like, you kind of like, okay, she played that, or hey, he played that, right? Like, I don't know. There's just something to that I think there's a stigma with it. It is what it is. I just kind of think that goes along with it, especially parents too. Parents have a certain understanding of that. I think that they see that as kind of a rite of passage, almost like, hey, you can't coach unless you really, played this sport or you were in the nitty gritty. and I don't really agree with that, by any means. I mean, especially with the way the world is now with technology and all those kind of things, I feel like anybody can kind of grasp it, understand it. If you're good at your job, I don't care what you did previously or whatnot. Georgia, talk about, some of the day-to-day things that you deal with. What are some of the things that you see, that athletes, coaches, parents, what are the hot topics of what your clients are dealing with on a daily basis?
Right. That's a very loaded question, but you
Absolutely.
said hot topics, so I'll drop some of the hot ones. So the majority of athletes that come to me, they're usually practicing great, no issues in practice, but come game time, they're completely choking. It's usually rooted in some sort of fear of failure. I'm working with them on letting go of mistakes, lots of perfectionism out there. That's a big one. Confidence, lack of confidence, overcoming social approval. We care way too much about what other people think of us. So especially the high schoolers, don't get me started with that one. Managing pressure and nerves, to just name a few. And then, of course, you got the crazy sport parents who are just very controlling and putting so much pressure on their kids. Usually they're very open to feedback, though. So I'm working with a lot of parents on that, on how to just really help their child succeed in their sport and not put so much negative pressure on that. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I'd love to look. I mean, of course, I gave you a loaded question to start to see kind of which way we wanted to take this. Yeah. I would love to know. And you said that parents are very open to feedback, right? When it comes to that,
for the most part, there's always those outliers.
Oh, of course, absolutely. It doesn't matter who you've worked with, how many degrees you have, how many books you've written. Some parents or people in general, just they know better, right? Like that's just way of the world. Look, I'll preface it as a high school football coach, like been doing this for a long time. I think I just finished 16 seasons, something of that nature. Like I've run the gamut, and you've seen it evolve and change and all of those types of things. How many times or how often do you see an athlete come to you and openly express, my parents put extreme pressure on me, and I feel like I am in this vice, this vacuum, this whatever it is, and that's why I can't make a free throw. That's why, I can't make the tackle when I need to. Is that something that you see or has trended in a certain direction in recent years?
Yes, more and more nowadays, especially with the younger ones. That's really sad to see. But yeah, I have so many athletes, Coach, that will literally be looking in the stands at their parents' reaction every time they. Sure, that drives you crazy as a coach, right?
Woo! It's literally a conversation, and again, it's really kind of one of those things that you see them as incoming freshmen, because I high school, so I'll deal with high school, right? Where, look, this isn't youth ball. When we're on the sideline, like we're not looking that way. You know what I'm saying? Like we're focused on the game. We're focused on our teammates. We don't come off the field and like look to the fence where are mommy and daddy. Now, I also think that there needs to be a level, a standard set in that programs preseason meeting or, something of that nature. Look, parents are always going to be parents. Fans are always going to be fans. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. You just hope that your facility is set up where there's a track and then there's some
stands, right?
Yardage and some distance, right? It's why I've always said I could never coach an indoor sport, like not happening.
Too close.
Some of the things way too close. Some of the things that fly on that sideline are left. That's where they should be set. But I do think that it's in recent years, I have seen a lot of players looking for that approval of like, and it doesn't even have to be, it's not even like say football specific or XO specific schematic. It's like, did I do okay?
Right, they're looking for this, like, good job, sweetie.
Or they didn't do something good, right? And they know, like, when they come, like, they're looking for that. Is my dad gonna like rip me apart? Is mom gonna like, you know what I mean? And look, we've had issues where now you have other parents yelling about like, hey, block for my kid. And, you know, you have all of these just like crazy situations, and it's a toxic environment. So to get them to break that is very, very difficult. And I understand it. It's all about approval. I'll take it this way. How much of that stems back to the social media world that we live in, where everybody wants likes and everybody's, you know, it's all about the shine and the approvals of, and the comparison, right? Like I see a lot of parents even, you know, comparing Jimmy to Johnny, and, oh, Jimmy goes to this trainer 3 times a week. And, you know, like we need to understand and implant more things where not everybody's going to be the best player. Not everybody's going to be the star, but especially when it comes to football, like the ultimate team game, we can have a lot of role players that are pivotal to winning. And we need to be okay with that. That's the real world. Not everybody's going to be the quarterback, and not everything is, you know, takes on that, you know, big persona type of thing. I think it's really difficult for kids to deal with. How do you talk to them when it comes to that aspect of like, hey, you don't always need to get the approval? Because I see it going 2 different ways. Sometimes I'm giving them positive feedback, and I'll turn around and now dad is like crushing them on the fence. And I'm like, dude, like he did exactly what he was supposed to be doing. And if not, like he did it better than like all this stuff. So now you're constantly combating this back and forth. Like I really wish parents understood their role as a support system, a positive support system a little bit more. But it's very interesting. So how do they deal with, how do you tell them to deal with that?
Yeah. Well, if the parents are open to me working with them, then I always usually have a session with them and explain to them the consequences of that. Because the parents, we're not completely dogging on parents here, right? Like parents play a very important role. And if they want their kid to succeed and they see how their actions are negatively affecting them, then, they'll quick.
Absolutely.
Hey, Coach.
Correct. Hey, Coach.
Hello. I survived.
Yeah.
There's so far nothing wrong. He couldn't find anything.
Okay,
so
we're good.
That's
Nice.
good. He said maybe you did something. I don't know. I'm like, well, all right. I hope so.
Yeah, you'll find out.
I fear the root canal. That's what I fear.
Oh.
But it wasn't that. So that's the good thing. That's the only thing I really fear. I could handle a cavity. You know what I mean? I could handle that.
As long as you can eat Thanksgiving on Thursday,
that's what I was gonna say. That's when you'll find out. That's when you're gonna find out. That was one of the
reasons why I went in, because I'm like, you know what? There would be nothing worse than if there's something wrong and eating all this food, and then there's something really wrong, and all of a sudden I go in next week and forget it's a disaster. So she's like, come in right now. I'm like, all right, I'll come in.
It's all right. Well,
we're really glad to have you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. We were talking about how athletes can get so distracted based on parents' reactions post game and even during the game. And I was explaining how I talk to athletes, I call it the devil game, when they start playing for other people's opinions, for stats, for praise, for approval. Because it looks like football, it looks like basketball, but it's not actually, you aren't actually playing the sport to compete and to win. You're playing for all these other uncontrollable things. And when you start playing for those things, you're playing for something that's not in your control. So it's going to make you frustrated when you don't get it. And you're going to be very outcome focused. So you're not really focused on just executing the play in front of you. And it usually comes as you get older, maybe typically around the high school age, but sadly I'm seeing it creep down slower and slower because what you mentioned, Coach D, about the social media aspects. When you start playing your sport, you weren't worried about stats and what other people are thinking. You're just like literally trying to run around the bases or make a tackle or catch the ball, right? Like those things don't come into play till much later down the road as you start forming more and more expectations and seeing, oh, I want that praise from that nice Instagram reel. That felt good. Or when my mom and dad celebrated with me after I scored a touchdown versus emphasizing the effort and hard work that I had.
What about I mean all these are and I can tell you that as a coach, I'm a coach and I'm a parent, and I've been guilty of being upset after a game or something like that as anybody else has. And I had these discussions with my son on stuff like and sometimes I don't even always understand the issue like after a thing. So like I always emphasize like working hard or doing something extra and stuff like that. But he brought something up to me which I was shocked at yesterday. I was shocked by this. So, and Derek, I don't know if you'll be surprised by this or not if this ever happens in high school anymore. Like it's been 5 years since I've coached in high school, so other than doing like club stuff. So he brought up to me like his peers who are not actually as good as he is or on a lower team saying things to him. So it's the first time that so we've always, my son's only 10, but like at his school, he goes to a Catholic school, they have a at basketball, they have they have varsity and they have JV. At 5th, 6th grade, they have JV, and he made the JV team, and he's doing really well on it. And some of the kids who were on they made a second team for the first time, and some of the other kids that were his friends that are on that, and they say things to him, and it's been bothering him in school. Like so I thought it was something I said, and we started talking, and he's like, somebody said this, and this. And or said something like my wife cheered when he scored or something, and this kid wasn't playing, obviously they were sitting behind us with the parents. They said something to him about that, and like she got excited because he was scoring some points or whatever. And I really didn't have an answer, right? Like usually I have an answer in this stuff. Like it's like I know what bullying looks like. Like this is not really bullying, you know what I mean? Like he's much bigger than these kids. So I don't know what it is, but it is kind of a little bit of a gang up mentality like on him, Now he's not the only one on the team. There's another 5 or 6 kids in his age group, so they're the younger age group that are on that team too. But that was what it surprised me. So, I thought, all right, maybe they're jealous or something like that. But I don't think kids relate to that. Like they don't really at that age relate to jealousy. They don't really understand, what that means. So I can't even address it in that way. You know what I mean? I can't say like, oh, like you would in high school, like a high school kid, you'd be like, okay, this kid's a star athlete and someone clearly is jealous of them. You could kind of articulate that to high school. I realize that a kid that age does not understand what that means even. And so I'm trying to articulate them to handle it. And it's actually bothering him. It's actually affecting him wanting to go to like extra work and stuff. And I'm like, why is that affecting you? He's like, oh, if he looks like he's putting in extra work, other kids say things to him.
Mm-hmm. It makes them feel better. It's a defense mechanism.
Yep.
Right. So I would say it's a form of jealousy, obviously, but these were his friends. These were his really good friends. And now they're like ganging up on him and blah, blah, blah. Obviously to me as an adult, I know there's some form of jealousy or a kid's upset. Maybe they're upset and they don't know how to articulate it and they're kind of taking it on him. Now he's handling it. He's not handling it well. And Derek knows my son. He's like a sensitive kid. So like he's a go-getter athlete wise, but like now he's in this thing of like trying to, he never was a person that was like just trying to fit in, but like, I feel like a little bit of that's going on. So I don't know. As with a young kid, I don't know how to even address it. It just happened to be something that came up because I thought it was something I did. And then we went for a walk and he articulated something. It went in a whole different direction. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm such a jerk. You know what I mean? It went this whole different direction. Really had nothing to do with me, So and until I walked with him for like a 20-minute walk, I had no idea. I had to do the old Jesse Owens thing when his coach used to walk with him back in high school. So, I went and did that thing and So I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on that, because that's something I've never dealt with before.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting with club sports. You see it like the ones team, the twos team, the threes team, right? And how players, athletes on the younger teams, I see them trying to like pick apart every little mistake that
Right.
the kids above them are making, right? And it's just to naturally make them feel better. It's totally a jealousy thing, right?
Right.
Versus, oh, hey, so and so is working out and getting more reps after practice. I like that. I'm going to go join them. Instead of competing and rising to the challenge and raising the overall level of competitiveness with everybody, now it's about putting them down and making them feel bad because, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put in those extra reps and work.
Right.
Right.
And
So,
at a club, you don't have to go to school with them all the time. Like, kids could be from
Right.
different places, but
Little
this is actually a school team.
Mhm.
So it's guys you hang out with all the time that are in your class, and they made 2 tiers. It was
Mhm.
interesting because they used to there's so many kids in this class, so they did that, but they used to not. They used to just have one team, but there were
Mhm.
so many kids that tried out.
Right.
And they basically told the kids who were who made the top team, it was really designed to, said it more to the 5th graders and the 6th graders, because there wasn't many 6th graders left, because they don't try out once they don't make the top team right the next year. But the 5th graders, they told them, do not say something to the kids who didn't make that team. So now these kids are walking around, they don't say nothing, but people are saying things to them. And they said to them, if they say anything to them, they'll get demoted to the lower team. That was exactly what they said to them. So, for example, my kid, who's like super serious and sensitive, is taking this taking this to heart. Like, doesn't want to go to school. Doesn't want to go to school. I'm not kidding. Like, and if he wasn't a sensitive kid, like he's a big, strong kid. So it's kind of like, you look at him, you wouldn't think he would be, but he just is. That's just who he is. So, but it's like, it's one of the first times where I was just like, and he was just specific. Do not say anything to my teachers. Do not say any. You know what I mean? That whole do not.
Well, because there'll be blowback from that too. Because
Right.
that's just another piece of ammo for those youth guys to kind of shoot at him and for his buddies to just use against him. Like, oh, now you went and told mommy and daddy, and you told the teacher, and yada yada. Honestly, like, this is all middle school nonsense stuff. It goes along, like, it's part of it. I don't think it's anything unless it gets to a certain level. I've seen it all the time. I see it with the high school guys. They get after it, and they it's just there's a fine line, and every kid is different in terms of how they deal with it, or how to heart they take it and whatnot. Yes, Troy is more of a sensitive kid, being around him. Like, he takes this stuff, like, feelings matter to him, whereas some kids, like, they wouldn't give a shit that, hey, dude, like, I'm better than you anyway, so whatever you say doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
You know what I'm saying? Like, keep talking, dude, but, like, I'm playing, you're on the
That's
bench.
how we're wired.
Like,
you know what I mean?
But that took time. Like, that you
true.
have to develop that callus, develop that tough skin. I mean, look, dude, like, even the best athletes there's 2 sides to it, right? Like, doesn't matter how good you're doing, somebody's always going to hold you to a higher standard, or always try and bring you down. I think you just have to kind of give them some of those, like, those techniques and whatnot. Now, I don't know specifically what those techniques are of how to handle that stuff on a daily basis. Plus, with the
that's why we have Georgia.
That's it. But I mean, and also with the social media aspect of it, yes, like, it is now more in the limelight, because, like, a lot of people are, they love to hide behind a phone, or they love to hide behind social media,
and that's passive, right? Is that like,
say it to my face, right? Like, most of them aren't going to do that.
So that's a good point, right? But I could see now, for the first time, I could see how that could then become, and it's a way bigger issue, I think, with female athletes a lot of times than male athletes, because that the looks and how you look has become a big deal, especially with all this, college, this NIL stuff. But as far as, like, I could see for the first time I could see where the line goes to start to do stuff social media wise, right? Like, do you like, are there techniques that you try to give kids, high school kids, middle school kids to cope with? Parents are a big issue, obviously, right? I mean, I'm an issue sometimes, I'm willing to admit it. I'm a crazy competitive person, and I didn't realize how competitive I was because it was always me as an athlete. And when I was coaching, it was coaching athletes that had no connection to as far as outside. I mean, you're connected to obviously because you love your athletes, but as far as I wasn't going home with any of those people. So at the end of the day, it wasn't like they were, but I realized it when I deal with my own son, like I'm like the only thing my mind goes to is to like, okay, what's next? What do we do to get better? Like those kind of things. And like I had to really realize that like they don't always think the same that you do. So but that side of like when and I see it so much when athletes start to succeed, okay, and other athletes succeed, it's not just other kids that come after them. It's other parents that come after those kids. Okay. It's a lot more subtly, you know what I mean? Like, but what are like, how can kids themselves, like high school kids, and I know Derek's dealt with this obviously at the high school level. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And I would say that when I coached high school, I would say I dealt with it minimally, but I would also say that it's been 5 years since I've been coaching in high school level where, I came, when I was really heavy in it, it was just as social media was starting to rise, and most of the stuff was like, hey, don't post some ridiculous things. And like like, I mean, we did have an issue back when I first started coaching a very, very long time ago where a girl was sending pictures to other athletes on the team. I coached track, and we dealt with that. But that was like kind of a very swift, and we handled it pretty quickly. It wasn't as widespread. Now that picture would have gone to like maybe 1 million people, right? So back then it was very limited, and we were able to deal with it. We were able to talk with her. We were able to talk with the athletes that were sharing it, and get in front of it. How do you advise athletes on that kind of thing? Like how keeping their head in the right place, keeping their mentals in the right place. It's very difficult. I see a lot of athletes struggle with it.
In regards to social
outside noise.
Yeah.
Outside noise is the big is to me one of the biggest problems that kids and social media is a large part of it. But we can start with outside noise in general, because I would say like when I grew up and probably Derek's similar, even though he's younger than I am, I think we're kind of in somewhat similar eras. My eras, we didn't have as much video as Derek's era, but there's you could barely find any footage from my era. But it's it was like limited, right? The outside noise. It was really, really limited. It was limited to like the 2 or 3 jealous people in your town,
Right.
like it really was. Like you knew who they were, you dealt with them, or you just didn't even bother with them. Now it's like these 5 or 6 people and these 50,000 people, you know what I mean, that come to your game in college or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you help them block out the outside noise? Like, what are important things for them to get rid of the outside noise?
Yeah. Well, first, I think it's important to really help them see and identify what their main distractions are, because a lot of times athletes will come to me and they're like, I am the most focused person and focused athlete in the world. And I'm like, just because you're focused on football, though, that doesn't necessarily mean you're focused on the right things in football. If you're focused on that past mistake or that crowd noise that's off in the distance or the score, like those probably aren't the best things that you should be focused on, right? So helping them identify that. And then in regards to social media, for my more like popular professional athletes, I tell them to get off of it in season.
Yes.
Get off. But don't even look at it.
And we know it's so difficult, right? Like that is so difficult. But like, look, UC got like 24-hour rule, or hey, game day rule, like no phones, no social media. Like I've read studies where, look, if you're on your phone right before a game, it's already taking away from you.
Yes.
You know what I
There are
mean?
more and more studies coming out about that.
100%. It's something that I've really going to dive into this offseason, because look, it bothers me when I walk in at halftime and the first thing I see are guys on their phones. Like, God, I'm trying to get you adjustments right now. Like, put it away. You know
Did
what
it
I'm
really,
saying?
Garrett?
Like, 100%.
So that
100%.
really, they pull out their phone.
You know that? Okay, so
you're right, because 5 years that's changed. That didn't happen really when we were at Red Bay.
It just wasn't a thing. I'm just look, it's kind of one of those like, hey, we're in the locker room, right? Hey, take the first 5 minutes for yourself, get your shit right. You know what I mean? Whatever. Now look, that used to be, hey, let me put on a long sleeve shirt, let me tie my cleats tighter, let me go to the bathroom. No, now it's
let me text my mom back or see what my girlfriend said. Right? No, it's bad.
Like, wait, that post that I put up 5 minutes before I went out, which is another issue in itself, right? Like, hey, we're going out for warm-ups. It's, dude, like, put the phones away. Like, let's go. And I need you to be looking at this marker board right now, because we got to change some things. So it's definitely the distraction overall from it. Look, I just think it's part of their routine. It's their everyday. It's what they do. Every one of the youth now that are coming through, like, they don't know life without a cell phone, without an iPad. Every one of them has been given a Chromebook since the time they got into school. You know, I mean, and it's no fault. It is what it is. I'm not bashing it. I'm not, praising it. This is the world we're look, technology. This is part of it. Adaptations, changing things, tweaking things, going with what it is, right? Because for as good, but for all the positive that come from it, there's so much negative. You need to really teach your athletes when and when not to, right? Because they can't filter, like, they might not know how to filter it. They might not know what they're looking at is actually something negative, that's going to hinder their performance. I think that's where it needs to tie in, to show them how, look, by doing this, it leads to you not playing as well as you can, right? Because when you take that away, that's something that they can see, they can calculate, they can actually feel it, right? If we could link it that way, then I think we would be off and running. But so many times than not, I see it, it's just so negative. And then they're worried about, how long are you worried about that? Like, you could be worried about that through the entire third quarter. And by that point, like, this thing's out of hand and we're definitely losing this game. And then it's going to be even worse when you touch your phone or get to your phone after the game. It's really, really difficult to kind of handle that stuff.
Well, and you guys will like this. This goes back to your question, Coach Schuman. The TikTok, the scrolling, the short videos.
Yes. The reels, the shorts, all that kind of stuff.
It's so bad for their focus, because if they don't like it in the first second,
boom,
boom, boom. So they're training a distracted squirrel brain. And
I say it all the time.
When there's just like a moment of downtime, the first thing we do is grab our phones and look at it. We are not comfortable just sitting with our thoughts, athletes now, especially high schoolers. So therefore, when you're in a game and you have a moment of downtime in between plays, your mind starts to
they don't know what to do. They just don't even know, like, what to do with their hands. Like,
negative thoughts. And 100%. they can't focus. They cannot bring themselves back in. So they are literally training themselves to be distracted all the time. 100%. So I'm really working with athletes on refocusing and being a little bit more comfortable, just
bringing it back to
literally sitting and being bored. And it's okay. That's a good thing to be bored. That's good.
Right. Because look, parents, the first thing parents want to do is put the
as soon as he's like, I hear this from my son, and I'm sure he gets from other people, and he doesn't have a phone or anything like that, but like for him, it's still like games, right? And he'll go and say, I'm bored. And I'm always like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being bored.
Go outside.
Read a book. Yeah. Go out. I mean, the one thing, he does play and stuff like that. So that's good. And he'll want to go get a friend and go play with a friend. And like, that's one of the things I've had to become cognizant of when he says, hey, I want to go, like, can one of my friends come by or whatever, right? Like, to really consciously not dismiss that because you have something to do, or my wife has something to
The
do.
best thing, right, ever. Like, go have play dates, go bike around with the neighborhood kids, go
Interact.
Yes, climb a tree and break an arm. Like, we don't see broken arms anymore, do we?
That's so funny you say that, Georgia. I heard this the other day. So there's something somewhere. It was like, hey, when's the last time you saw a kid with a cast on their arm? Right? Like, he's like, when we went to school, man, that it was like an infirmary in that place, man. Like, this guy had one on their leg, this guy's here, everybody had a cat. Now you don't see it. Why? Because kids just don't do that. Look, we make the reference all the time. Like, kids just don't go out and play basketball or, go to the local park and just like run around and do shit. Like, we don't allow them to do that because there's this fear of they might get hurt or this or that. Like, we've just coddled them so much for them to not understand that. And it brings a full circle, right? Like, they get it. You're going for a car ride. What's the first thing a parent does is, here's your iPad, here's your whatever, watch a movie, go stream this or stream. Why? Because parents didn't want to deal with the, are we there yet? What's going on? Like, that's part of this whole thing is that they need those coping skills to handle it. And I don't think they have them. They struggle with it. And it now it just allows them, like you said, like every one of them is like a squirrel constantly, like, all over the place.
No way to put the genie back in the bottle.
Absolutely not.
No way to put the genie back in the bottle, because even if you insulate them to an extent from it, right?
You can only do it for so long too, because everybody around them.
It's around them.
Like, my kid doesn't have a phone.
The longer you can insulate them from it, the better it is, no doubt.
Absolutely. But then, Dave, it goes back to your original point. Like, now, look, he doesn't have a phone, right? Oh, well, hey, this guy doesn't have a phone, right? Now, everybody that does have a phone, they're in one group. Your kid without the phone is in another group. It's just more ammo for them to be like, well, he doesn't even have a phone. Ha ha. You know what I mean?
It's also, what your point is, there's a herd mentality. Okay. There's a huge herd mentality.
Everybody wants to be a part
of
the group.
Like, I don't know. Like, you probably are, I don't know if you're similar to I, but I used to have pride in the fact that I was different than other people. Like, to me,
rare though. That's very rare.
Yeah, I guess that probably is rare. And maybe even then, maybe people
definitely
were rare. But I used to I don't know, like, people used to bust my chops about it, and I used to be like, yo, that's just like how I am, like
different. That's not, and especially middle school, high school, where being part of the group, sitting at the cool table, like, is literally life. Like, that is all that matters. It's one of 100%
herd mentality versus less. I feel like, so, like, Roblox is my example, right? And when you get to high school, it changes, but I would say up till about high school, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some of the immature kids play it in high school. I don't know. But the 75 million daily users in Roblox, including obviously adults. All right. It's the highest. I just watch this whole thing on it. It's the highest amount of predators, meaning like child predators, not just like young kids. I mean, like adults to like high school, right? Like sexual predator, all those kind of things, right? All the way along the lines. In the world, it's a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded company. Okay, that game. It's a publicly traded company, and until you dive into it, you're like, oh my goodness, think about that. That's like a mid-sized country, you know what I mean? 75 million daily users that are on there. You obviously very difficult to probably guess because of all the different activities that are going on. But there's, I'll see it, like, I'll see when they're playing like the football. It's called an obby or whatever. When they're in a room, there's always mega rooms. Okay, and there's a football one. And so, like, I'm on a team with Derek because Derek's my friend, and we joined a team, and there's other people that we don't know that are also on our team. And on the other team, there are a bunch of people, 11 guys and whoever, it could be guys, girls, whatever, operating each individual player, right? You don't know who any of those people are other than you and your friends that chose to go in that team, right? Now, you can't, as a parent, like if I'm not there when that's going on, how do I know someone doesn't say something to a kid, right? And that's that's the whole thing of like, and that's different than the athlete part of it, but it's the whole herd mentality. Like everybody goes to these one or two areas for things, and they're all on it, and they're all doing it. And how do you get kids comfortable with their own individuality? You know what I mean? Like, and it's the same thing with like, my kid goes to Catholic school, but on the public school side, where politically there's like a movement to do this or to do that to be overly inclusive, and then you got all of a sudden people who normally would like, I think like, hey, teenagers, they question themselves when they become teenagers. That's natural,
Right.
And all of a sudden we're saying, hey, you should go get you should think about changing your sex or changing your sexuality. It's like, hey, kids, when they're in middle school, they have to figure these things out. Yes, there are kids that are obviously could be one kind of thing or the other, but there's a lot of kids that are figuring it all out as they're coming through, and then we're pushing them in this herd mentality to choose a side on something, to choose whether they're heterosexual, whether they're homosexual, like whether they feel comfortable with their bodies. Like I listen to see these things like online where these, like, why, let them be kids. And so how do we get to embrace comfortable with a person? I'm not talking about like sports, like just who I am, what do I enjoy, what kind of friends do I want to be around? How do we help them to like figure those kind of things out in a good way? Because I think that part is going away a lot. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it goes back to the confidence piece, right? And making sure we're highlighting their unique strengths, their unique abilities. Derek and I were talking about before you got on how it's so important that like your role. I'm kind of connecting back to sports here and team roles, right? Like you don't need to be the star player all the time. Maybe you're just the player that provides the comedic relief on the bench. And that is amazing. Every single team needs somebody like that.
Right. Someone to break that ice, right? Or balance that thing out when things are really tight. And I'm not in a disrespectful manner in front of the coach or whatever, but when like coach walks away, like we could all name that teammate that you were like, dude, like Jen, like that was hilarious. Like, or just breaks that. That's your role. That's like,
own it. Do it to the best of your abilities, right?
100%. And that's why God put you on this earth. Like you are that person. You might be able to
abilities.
Exactly. And it's I think that's so pivotal too. That's so important for parents, for coaches to highlight those guys that aren't by definition or what everybody puts as like, this is the key part of our team. Like, do you understand that comedic relief and that tension breaker for the 7 other dudes that are wound so tight? Look, it might not get them to like laugh or whatever, but in their brain, it's going to add a little something to this, which is going to ultimately help all of us. Yeah. Highlighting
those bits are going to impact thousands of more people than your ability to hit a baseball when you graduate one day.
And that's the part I think that's key. We're so right now, that sport, that team, that's life. That is all that they understand. That is the most important thing about it. But listen, this ends after high school. Like for majority of kids, sports aren't going to be that team, that whatever. you'll have those memories, but we're talking about life here. And if I can teach you some of these skills and tell you like what you're learning here is going to roll through and help you for the next 80 years of your life, that's the piece that's when you get those guys that, they graduate 3 years down the road, they're graduating college or they're doing whatever, they're getting married, they get their first job and they shoot you an email, right? Or text you and they say, Coach, like, man, I'm so glad I had that interception against whatever, but when you talked about this has helped me so much. You know what I mean? Like those are the things I think we need to focus on more and then can help the kids, moving forward. But it's really hard because all they think about is that sport, how good they are. They're the starter. They're not the star. They're this, they're that. Like, that's great, buddy. Like, you see it transition from middle school to high school, the kid that hit puberty early and now all of a sudden has stayed the same and everybody else around them has gotten a little bit better. How do you deal with that? And parents deal with that in a different way too. That's really tough.
That's a very tough one, I bet you, for those kids. Like I think we've talked about that a couple of times, but really never like those kids who
they just hit it earlier.
Yeah, they were youth stars, and then they're kind of like resigned to a role, and their parents
they don't understand it either.
They don't have
middle school. They were being told, "Hey, you're going to Alabama," and now
although they probably should have just looked in the mirror and figured out what they were athletically. Probably
mom's 5'2", dad's 5'8". Like this ain't exactly what we're
athletic. You know what? You did a great job making them more athletic than you were, so you deserve credit for that. But you're still limited by a certain amount of genetic code.
Yeah. So, or let's hold them back a year and let them grow more, so they'll get recruited to a higher school.
Yeah, that's the norm now. That's the norm.
That is the norm. Everybody.
That is the norm.
This senior class, I had a total. Dave, you'll like this statistic, Dave. I had 15 seniors this year, and I think 5 were reclasses.
Wow.
Well, like, I would say that, like, in my and the way that what is your cutoff birth date wise at Brick? What is it, October?
Yeah.
Right. So that October kind of frame, right? Pushed it through, like when I grew up in North Jersey, and I think yours was the same. It was January 1, right?
Yep. So it was always that. It was always a January cutoff.
So that push forward of 3 months, I think, confuses a lot of parents, and a lot of parents also, in at least where we live, move them back even more. I can't tell you how many kids I'm like, wait a minute, like, so if you're towards like the middle of the year, you're actually like being at the end of the year and under the old thing, and that forces like, so people are already quote unquote reclassed to begin with because they're in October, they're actually like 4 months older.
That development that's needed to look, we're talking about this, right? Like to deal with these issues, that maturity, that, under that level of self-awareness or understanding, right? I'm sure that's something, Georgia, that you deal with, working with your athletes and parents and that it's like, well, they're just might not have that development yet to deal with this and that understanding. So let's give them some skills to do this, or have them sit down with me a week. Look, you're doing God's work, Georgia. You're helping because look, a coach can only do so much and ultimately can only touch on that level. So, without it, right? Because, I also got to hold you accountable and hold you to it. So for me, that's why I think a balance within a coaching staff is so important. Like every kid on a staff and every staffer needs to let, hey, that's my guy. Good cop, bad cop type thing. This one can, hey, I can relate more to him or understand it. I get it. Hey, he's got a divorced parents. Like, hey, I'm from a divorced family. Like just that level of understanding and that's why I love football, because there's so many assistants, right? Like we can divide and conquer because every one of those kids needs that. But I think the extra piece that you add, Georgia, by doing what you do, I think we're only going to see that rise more. Look, your big time programs already have it. Like there's 3 of you on staff.
Explain more of, so like what does a sports psychologist role? Okay. What is the value for athletes on that? And talk about like some of the stuff that you go and you take care of for athletes and how you help them on an individual or group basis.
Well, you can have the best physical skills in the world, right? But if your mind isn't right, there's no way those physical skills are shining through. So I was telling Derek, like, I'm working with a lot on composure, perfectionism, fear of failure, confidence, trusting, focus. Like, I'm helping them with all that. So if an athlete comes to me, and typically how I work with athletes, I have to see them at least 4 times. I make them see me at least 4 times because we can only do so much in one session, right? Like, you have a mental block and you're coming to me, it's not going to be fixed in 60 minutes. You've been forming these habits for your entire life, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So I think the biggest piece, though, you all, is like what we're getting at here is forming a relationship with them, getting to know them, building the rapport. If they don't trust me, then anything I tell them is just going to fly out the window. It's not going to work. So they need that one-on-one connection, which is why that's so important. And I coached club volleyball, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh, God bless you.
I don't do it anymore, but this was like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's like, oh my gosh, my team's gonna be so good. Like, I have all this volleyball knowledge, all this mental knowledge. No, I couldn't focus on any of the mental side because I was so locked in on just like strategy, technique. You need more people to help hit all the pieces. It can't just be one person, because your job is to make decisions that's best for the team. Unfortunately, maybe you have to cut somebody, right? My job is to help the individual. And so that's kind of like where that nice balance comes in. I do have to get going, you all. I have an athlete at 11 here.
Yep.
It was so nice chatting to you guys and meeting you all. And thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you. Appreciate you so much, Georgia.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll follow up with you guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, shoot. Oh. All right. Sorry.
Dude, she's awesome.
That was great. I wanted to
she's a Springfield grad.
I'd like to dive in more with certain
yeah, we can get her back again.
Yeah, I want to dive in with strategies because I think that a lot of athletes really struggle with, okay, how much is too much? Doing everything like, so you say, hey, you got to do the extra work, right, to be a better player, right? Let's say you're coaching receivers, okay, and you say, hey, you need to put in extra work, right? And they have a hard time struggling with what is extra work and what is rest. Like,
what does it look like? Yeah,
right. Like, now, what's great about Tony Holler's program from an athletic standpoint is it gives you a parameter, right? But what it does not address, okay, yet, and you know who's working on that, yours truly. What it does not address is football players in the off season are going to get extra work from somebody. That's just a norm today, okay? Whether they do it once a week, twice a week, how much they do it, right? But that has to be factored into overall development, right? And it's not. Yep. You know this firsthand. You guys have a lifting program. Guy goes and does something over here with the trainer, does this receiver work over here. All of a sudden comes in on Friday and is like beat up. And this is the off season, right? I'm not talking about in season, right?
Yeah, no, this is off season.
In season is less of an issue because really they're not going to go to the trainer very much in season.
Well, because they understand the structure a little bit more of like, that's too much. You know what I mean? Like the off season, we're, kind of aiming for this. There's just an overall, I want to say, like, goal at the end that they're aiming for in season. You know what I mean? Like, they understand that.
And they know the most thing they could do is rehab themselves on the Sunday. That's about.
I find that interesting too, because that's where I think football is very different than other sports, right? Is because when it comes to football itself, like, you only play games a certain number, you play it once a week, right? Where other sports, like, so for football, your off season is look, what am I doing? Okay, I'm lifting, I'm running, right? I'm working with a trainer, but you're not playing the actual game. All right, you do flag. That's a very different game. You're doing 7-on-7. That's not football. That's not tackle football. It's all very separate entities. And I heard Troy Polamalu talk about this, actually. his thing was
My second
order-
favorite, Troy.
I know he's the best, dude.
Troy Aikman's number one. He's number two.
In order to get
Next to my son.
better at his actual sport,
Right.
he was, I need to play it. I need to be in it. I need to be doing it. So how he would kind of like make up that ground or feel like he was getting better in like, and this wasn't, it would be in season. He would go and play scout team because he wanted more reps. He wanted to be able to see things. So his whole thing was and look, we can talk about mimicking a game-like situation as much as we want, preseason, off-season. It's never going to happen. You're never going to get to it. It's not like basketball where I can go and play game after game after game in the off-season and be in that world so that when the regular season comes, like, hey, I've seen this before. Football's not like that. It's very hard. It's why I think like you can see it, but reaction is very different. I can sit here and study huddle film my entire offseason and understand that, look, when this guy does this, it's going to be, but it's not, you're not in it. So you still need an element of, I get almost, how do you train, right, to keep yourself cool, calm, and collective in a game situation when you're only getting 10, 12 of those in a year?
And
that's
they tried
really
to
hard.
use the virtual reality stuff to do it, but I think even
Still not. It's still. I think that's getting closer now. Shit,
it's
if I
not
could
there yet.
think
It's
about
not
that
there.
though, if I could, Texas Tech has it, right? If I could go to Texas Tech, right, and in the off season after I get my lift in, I can now go and I can sit here and I can throw a live 7-on-7 against whatever. That's going to put me closer to a game situation, right? Like I can.
You know what
feel
has
that.
that? Have you ever seen?
I think that's huge.
There's like these soccer arenas, right, where they have. You're right, because Texas Tech does have that where you have the video and you could do. So
they got the full width field of the giant
there's
screens.
These soccer
and
arenas that are indoors.
Dude, sim is going to be a big thing, dude.
Yeah, these soccer like little indoor things that for people who can't get outdoors, they have these there's a big business. It's like a simulation thing, and you kick, and there's an actual goal, right? And there's an actual. You're actually taking shots on it. It's a video board.
Absolutely.
A player's moving in front of you, and you're kicking. And so it like in soccer, it's probably easier to do, but
of course.
They've already got it advanced to where
absolutely
the direct feedback.
Football's just an outlier, dude. Like it is so difficult, and you don't get.
I saw that in soccer. I was like,
and by the time you even figure it out, like it's junior year of high school, and you got 10 games left, like, and then it's over. So
I can tell you this: I didn't when I moved positions. This happens a lot in college, right? I moved positions.
That's hard.
The first year I was as a junior playing linebacker, I was
totally different.
I was just an athlete. I didn't even know the reads because I was a safety in high school. I didn't really get it. I was just being an athlete. By the time my senior year, I was then more doing what the coach kind of was coaching me on. It wasn't until the second half of the season, my senior year, that I was like, oh,
it clicked.
Like just clicked. And then and then you're 5 games left, and your season's over, and you're like,
oh shit,
that's it. Like I wish I knew that
sooner. It's why look,
I played another position earlier,
But that's that's one of the things. That's why it's like constantly like, look, man, like pick a position, right? Like, and then dial in on it. Like
I was just getting good, and I'm like, it's over,
right? And I try to like explain to these guys, like, man, like, look, there's a process to this, right? Like, as a freshman, when you come in, you play both sides of the ball, like irregardless of what, like, you know what I mean? Like we play both sides, we figure it out. Then as a sophomore, look, you're coming in and this is when we can start to see, all right, maybe he's more of a DB, maybe he's more of a receiver, maybe he's both, like, exactly. Right.
If you're a freak,
that's a really hard thing to get across to these guys because they never want to leave the field. They don't understand, why am I not playing both ways? Why am I? Well, buddy, I can maximize more of the retention and get you to see more just because, hey, if now you're only a DB, right? Now, when the offense is on the field, right? Like you go scout defense and you're getting just double the reps daily. And that gets you
or more correlated positions too. Like if you're on offense, what's the correlated position to there? It's this or this, right?
Correct.
Like playing a correlated position is very, very helpful.
Right. And the whole thing too of like literally breaking it down to even more so like, hey man, being a corner isn't being a safety, or being an inside receiver isn't the same as
Right.
being an outside receiver. Like
Right.
as the level of ball increases, the splitting of hairs when it comes to that changes, right? Because
So
what's
much to learn.
a safety in youth ball? Hey man, stay over the top. Don't let anybody get deeper than you. That's pretty much what I'm worried about. Like just do that. You know what I mean? But now the intricacies.
Don't let anyone
Right.
score if they break through.
100%. Like chase a guy down, go tackle and go. Like, you know what I mean? Like the intricacies of it just change. But I think that's something that's so different. It's one of the other things that makes just football great, dude, is you don't get that many opportunities to play live games, right? So look, if you get to play special teams on varsity and then JV on Monday, buddy, you're already like, you should be loving life because you're playing in 2 games a week. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen for everybody.
Most football players, so if you play in high school, I would say most football players finish high school if they just end up, that was it.
That's it.
They most of them, unless they got a full 2 years of starting, probably feel like, oh, they're just learning what they need to learn, right?
By the time they finish.
And if in college you get the feeling like that, unless you're like a 2 or 3 year starter, right? Because then if you're a 3-year starter, like by the 3rd year, you're starting to maximize, you're starting to master your craft. But it takes time to master your craft.
But that's why I say to guys, look,
most
man,
of these guys are just athletes for the most part.
And that's what I say and that's where I think coaches need to understand that more of like, hey man, like you can win games with a lot of athletes just figuring stuff out. So to spend all that time trying to like, hey man, this is your read here, or this is your this
on that,
dude,
yeah.
We overcoach it so much that now it takes away from the athlete. Let them go out there and do what they do, bro. Like, let them go. Because now when you get them thinking, they're slowing up. It just isn't the same, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the part. And I say to guys, well, I literally break it down for them too, Dave. And this is like something that's really been eye-opening for them. I said, look, fellas, like, here's the deal. Okay. Start from sophomore year. Even if you start both ways, right? Just do the math, dude. How many plays a game, both sides of the ball, how many games a year? Like by the time you finish, like majority of your career is already over, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like It's just not. So when you put the math and literally lay it out, and I say, look, and that's if you start both ways as a sophomore. Most of you will never start both ways, right? 2, so you should be begging to get on every special team for me because it gives you more plays, right? Junior, like you may have 1 year of actual this much. Like, so if you want to break it down to total number of plays in your entire career, right? Like it's why you want to be good because you get more games. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you're an average team where 10 games a year, guys, that's only 30 games. And that's before we even get into breaking down how many actual plays within that game you're getting. So
that's why basketball players and soccer players and baseball players can really get a certain level of expertise by the time they're done with their high school career because 100%. They have so many games. It doesn't mean
the baseball, you play 2 games in a day, for Christ's sakes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
and they probably still don't because hitting a ball is very difficult.
Dude, my father always said the hardest thing is baseball, hitting a round ball with a round bat. Hardest thing to do. Hands down, dude. Like,
although I would say I wonder the two toughest things probably in sports are hitting a baseball or hitting a ball that doesn't move, which is hitting it correctly, which is golf. Meaning so many.
But that's why so many people love golf because you're never going to be perfect. Like you just can't. It's like almost impossible.
Doesn't
you know what I'm saying? Like
it's you like, that screws up. It's right. So in baseball,
for competitors like us,
pitch you, but the ball never moves in golf. So when it's a bad hit, it's you.
This club, this swing, that, you know what I mean? Oh, the course today was wetter than it was somewhere else. Or you know what I'm saying? The grass is higher over here. Dude, it's why the ultimate competitors, Michael Jordan, worship golf.
Right, because they can't get good at it.
because you can't master it. Johnny Manziel on the golf course every day. Like, you know what I mean? Like these
It's very hard to master.
That's why I never wanted to try it. I'm like, dude, I can't do this because, look, one, I'll be on the course every single day, right? I'll just be trying to master this thing on the regular because I just know who I am as a competitor and what you know what I mean? Like how everything I do, like just flocks to it. But I think that's what makes football great is because you have to freaking like, it's just hard to mimic. That's why you get so excited for football season, dude. Like I only have 10 of these. Like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Then
like
it's over.
Then you're done. It's not like, oh, basketball. Okay, well then we have summer league, we got AAU, and we got the, you know what I mean? Like, and then even when you finish, like, hey man, I'm gonna go to LA Fitness and we're gonna run some games or whatever. Or hey, baseball, like, hey, I'm gonna play in a men's softball league or whatever that shit. Like that's just like.
No
soccer,
one's going out
like you have men's soccer leagues. No, look, unless you're 37U.
Yeah, those guys. I have to say, those guys are crazy. They're crazy.
I told you, I did 1 year of semi-pro, dude. It was California penal, bro.
I don't know how these guys are doing it for like 10 years. I don't know how to do it,
dude. I look at like our boy Sheed, right? Like Rashid did it forever. He's a New York City semi-pro legend. I'm just telling you, dude, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And like up until like 5 years ago, he was still doing this shit. And I'm like, dude, you're out of your mind. Like you're out of your mind. You're crazy. But it's
anywhere right now, by the way.
Yeah, he spent this year at William Patterson as the DB coach, and he had 2 first-team all NJAC safeties. Their defense, like, oh, dude, unbelievable.
Defense
like,
was not good though. I saw
defense, dude, but like you're like I just what it takes to turn things around like that, especially at a perennial like losing type of program. Dude, he's got it. You know what I mean? Like at least his position group. You know what I'm saying? Because you just know what he is. He builds. He's this. Right. He's got some kids that are like interested in coming there now. Like, oh, why would I go there? And it's like, hey, okay, like putting guys on the.
That's the hardest place I think in the. Oh no, well, Keene is as hard as that. I think Keene's better.
Well, Keene is well. This is what the issue with Keene is. After speaking with Coach Garrett, is the school itself is now upping their academic standards. So now certain players that used to be able to be in and get in, that's not a thing anymore. So the recruiting aspect is going to be really tough. Whereas I think that's where Willie P has the advantage is they can pretty much get anybody in that they want. Rowan just wanted, they just missed the playoffs, right? At Division III. They just played an ECAC game and won. Like that is a freight train that is coming. And I mean, he's tapping into everything. He's got a really good thing going down there. I think Ford was, a freshman player of the year, right, for his contribution. So,
really?
Oh yeah, dude, he killed it. And the caliber of playing, I don't know what he's gonna do. But I think that's something else too. Like he runs such a good program. I don't think these guys are going to want to leave because he's treating it like a higher level than a Division III. Like he's putting together, like trying to figure out how can we do some NIL stuff or whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's really kind of up in that ante. So I don't think guys are going to want to leave, dude. Like he treats them a certain way. I think it's going to be really good. If you've noticed recently, Monmouth is doing their whole like run of, okay, every really good player in the Shore, that's a 2026, we'll just throw them a PWO. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's already coming down the pipe.
Oh, this is the whole thing because they were the last one of the last 4 teams not to make the playoffs. So Monmouth didn't even make the playoffs, and because obviously the FCS playoffs are different. But now, so now they're all off and doing their whole thing, which is always kind of funny how they do that. But interesting, man. I mean, it's interesting. Our state is different though. A lot of Division IIIs, 1 sprint football team, and Rutgers who has to beat Penn State in order to be bowl eligible. So that should be interesting.
5 and 7, they can't get in, I guess.
Guess not. No, I mean, listen, how much of a
1 year? I thought they did 1 year.
Yeah, but I mean, look, if you're that bowl committee, how much of a draw is Rutgers? Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really tough. And now, look, you got to go play Penn State and all that kind of jive. I mean, I don't know. The thing I'm looking at now is how long does it take James Franklin to get Virginia Tech back to where Virginia Tech? You know what I mean? Like, how long? Does it
Not
take a
long
year?
at all.
Is it 2 years?
2 years
I think
max.
with the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff now, dude, I think you can turn around programs in a year. I don't think you have to wait that long anymore.
Yeah, I think it could be 1 year, but definitely 2. I like you might need
2 on the safe side, definitely.
That
And
whole,
depending on what assistance he brings along.
yeah.
Because I don't care what anybody says. Like assistant coaches are they're your lifeline. Like that's what makes or breaks you as a team. Can guys recruit? Can guys do this? Can we bring guys in? Like, are they hot names? Like all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think Virginia Tech's a little different, man. That's not like a higher academic. Like that's going to be tough to get. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is Virginia Tech a better school than Penn State? You tell me. I don't know.
Academically, Virginia Tech's pretty good. It used to. I mean, it's an engineering school. It's not like the cream of the crop engineering school, but it is a place that got a lot better because of the engineering component and like how important engineers became over the years. I would say 20 years ago, I would say probably wasn't a phenomenal school,
Right.
But now I think it's a very good school. I bet you it's probably rated pretty high.
I bet you.
Yeah, I mean, and Virginia schools in general are rated very high. Like,
look at like William and Mary, like
Virginia.
right, like oh my God.
So
Virginia is a high academic school. I never
James
understood.
Madison's a great school.
James Madison. Is Old Dominion in Virginia?
Old Dominion's a very good school. Yeah, they're all
and look,
good.
That guy, the head coach at Old Dominion, Ricky Rain, who was Franklin's like guy. Like they've been talking to him. Like, are you going to leave and go be his coordinator, or are you going to stay being the head coach at FD?
How's he doing?
Oh shit! I thought they were like 500.
Okay, I don't even. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of these Old Dominion, these were all like CAA or Yankee Conference teams.
I know. I mean, look, I look at Sacred Heart. They're moving from the Yankee Conference to the CAA. They just played Villanova, who's leaving to go to Patriot League, and they lost by 2 tutties, if not 3.
Oh, yeah, right, because Villanova was CAA Yankee Conference.
Now they're going Patriot.
Yeah, they're Patriot because
I mean, Old Dominion's they're second in the Sun Belt.
But
they're 8-3.
The CAA lost most of its high academic schools. So JMU's
Here,
gone.
look, like Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech this year. They lost. They only lost to Indiana first game of the year, 27-14.
So they won the rest of their games?
They lost to Marshall and they lost to James Madison.
No, Marshall. Did you see it was interesting? Southern Miss, the guy who was at Marshall and he left and he brought all those guys went in the transfer portal. He took a team that won like 1 game last year and now they're I think they were bowl eligible, if I'm not mistaken. But it's amazing.
Dude, look at Tulane.
He took his Marshall kids with him.
What did the Indiana guy do?
Took
his Old Dominion, took his James Madison, or took whoever. Where did he come from?
Madison,
James Madison,
yeah.
right? Took the guys with him. Like, you can do that now.
That's the other guy that's hot, Bob Chesney.
Oh, dude, he's going to get the UCLA job.
Oh, is that what he's going to get? That's the guy from JMU.
Now, I'm not a big fan of East Coast, West Coast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Chip Kelly, I think, is the only one that's done it. He's an East Coast guy.
Oh, he is? Okay.
How about Chip Kelly getting fired?
I saw that. It says Penn State reportedly targets Bob Chesney.
Of course. I just don't know if the alumni are okay with that type of hire. Like, I think they're looking for a bigger splash hire.
I think he would be perfect.
I do. Listen, I knew him from when he was at. I heard him speak when he was at Assumption, and I'm like, this guy's a rock star.
Assumption. Yeah,
and then he went to Holy Cross, and he won there. Like, he had Liam at Holy Cross. Liam loved him.
I know him from Holy Cross.
Definitely.
And let's see, Bob Chesney. He's been around. His head coaching record is 130-51. That's unbelievable for college. That's
130-51. That's unbelievable.
For he's only had. Let's see if he had any losing years. And he was Salve, Virginia.
Oh,
He won. He was 23-9 at Salve, Virginia.
and that's unbelievable because we know how hard it is to get kids in there, one, and then to just play up there. You know what I mean? Like that's a really, really listen. I look at like
44 and 16. 44 and 16.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And that's high. That's the highest of the high level Division 2.
At Holy Cross, 44 and 21. His only losing season was his first year. And then JMU, he's 19 and 5.
Yeah, he's a rock star, dude.
That
And he's
guy's
young. He's young, charismatic. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a player's guy, right? Which I think you have to be now.
Not as young. Believe it or not, he's not as young as you think.
Well, what is he? To me, if you're 50,
48,
you're
48.
young.
Yeah,
dude. If you're under 50, you're young.
Yeah, he's 48. So
now look, I think that will change a little bit. Like I think now because now guys are literally getting into coaching way sooner
and later. You're getting.
I think they're getting. I think they're getting better. They're getting higher level titles younger.
I think whoever is good is who they're going to hire because it's money now. Completely, like the guy from Indiana has shown everybody that if you're spending money, you want the best guy, whether he's old, young, or in between, because
doesn't matter.
You don't have time. You don't have a lot of time.
You have no time.
So if this guy is good, like the Indiana guy, in right away he turns it around, a year or two, whatever, right? Turns it around. So you could actually have, quote unquote, an older guy in his 60s. And if he's great,
he's great.
You don't have to wait. Like he can turn around in 2 years. Boom.
100%.
Jim Mora is a good example of that too. Jim Mora.
And look at his path. Holy hell. Like NFL, college, like, and he's been all over.
I mean, Lane Kiffin, even though he's actually still young, he's just been around forever. But like,
because again, he was the original get something very young.
And didn't succeed in anything.
That's the biggest piece. That's the biggest piece. He's the ultimate example of didn't have success, stayed with it, and has rebuilt his own personal brand and all that kind of jive. I think he's going to LSU.
It's funny because
he's going to be, I don't know.
People
after the Egg Bowl is this week, right?
Yeah, the Egg Bowl, you think, right?
They're going to throw him so much money. He's going to get Ed Orgeron back. Like, oh, man, it's going to be awesome.
His record at Ole Miss is really good, 54-19. Okay.
Right.
His head coaching record overall,
including the NFL?
No, in college is actually really, really good. But it didn't start that way. So
what was his first head coaching gig? Was it USC? No, it was Tennessee to USC.
Tennessee, right? 7-6. Then USC 8-5, 10-2, 7-6, 3-2. He got fired after 3-2, which is kind of crazy. Florida Atlantic 11-3, 5-7, 5-7, then 10-3. Okay. And then Ole Miss, he's done great. Like first year was 5-5, but since then he's been really good. But I think it's really interesting. And obviously in the pros he was 5-15. So, but he's been through. Yeah, in the pros he was 4-12 and then 1-3 fired. Then went to Tennessee. The next year.
He was only at Tennessee for 1 year or 2 years.
It was at Tennessee 1 year. Then after USC firing, he went. Those are the 4 years he spent with Nick Saban, right? Yeah. And
rebuilt it,
rehabbed them. Florida Atlantic, he did very well, and then boom, Ole Miss. And he's been in Ole Miss much longer than you would think. I didn't realize he's been there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years already.
Yeah, it's over 5 years. Absolutely.
It doesn't seem like.
And they didn't win right away when he got there.
They were 5-5 the first year, but after that they won. But yeah, I mean, like, I mean, if you look at James Franklin record, it's probably the best of all. Like,
absolutely, he was a 10-win guy for almost every year. I bet.
James Franklin's record is. I'm just curious. Stuff gets me curious. 128 and 60, similar. He was at Vanderbilt 6-7, 9-4, 9-4 at Vanderbilt.
It's unbelievable.
Then 7-6 at Penn State, 7-6, 11-3, 11-2, 9-4, 11-2, 4-5. It must be COVID. 7-6, 11-2, 10-3, 13-3, and then fired this year after last year being like one of his best years. And now he's Virginia Tech, and he could have taken the buyout and just,
chilled. He could have just done college game day.
Exactly. He basically said, "Screw that. I'm
a coach."
I want to coach. Like he's so determined now. Like he's one of those guys. So angry.
He's like, wait, you told me I couldn't? Oh yeah, he's 100%. Like he's got that bullseye like board with like, you know what I mean? Like, how do I schedule Penn State every year at Virginia Tech?
Jim Mora's road has been really rocky. Like,
and I heard him speak, man. I would have loved to play for him. Like, I'm sure he's a prick, but at the same time, like, dude, this guy's been in the NFL. He's been around the league forever with his dad. Like, just like, hey, I would love to play for Rex Ryan. Like, those guys hold you to a really high standard, really tough. Like, but at the same time, they like know how. Look, I always
ran him out of freaking the NFL.
Right? Was it Seahawks, right?
He was 11-5, 8-8, 7-9.
Seahawks in Atlanta, right? Seahawks in Atlanta.
Got fired at Atlanta, had to do rehab basically in the NFL for a couple of years. Came back to Seattle, 5-11, fired again. That's tough. And then he went UCLA, 9-5, 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 4-8, 5-6. So it was like really good, then fell off the cliff.
And UCLA is just such a hard spot, bro. Like,
and
you're always
he disappeared for 5 years, Derek.
Correct. And is he an offensive guy or a defensive guy?
That's the Dave Schuman path. This for 5 years, come back.
Yeah.
UConn. Listen, this guy's in battle. Like, his overall record is not phenomenal, but he's really done a good job everywhere
he's been. Everywhere he's been. And you always look at it like this, like, dude, did they leave the place better than they left it? And that might not be like the record might not constitute that. Like I said, UCLA is a really freaking hard place, dude. Like, USC is always going to be one. You're in a pro type of town, LA, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, look, they just made the move. They're not going to play their home games at the Rose Bowl anymore, right? Because it's like 40 minutes away from campus.
Where are they going to go?
SoFi.
Oh, SoFi's beautiful.
Gorgeous. All
right, so they're going to make it like, we're the Chargers, you're the Rams. I get it. Right. That's smart.
Now,
you should.
Now, where I've seen that not work is, I think, Pitt, that uses the Steelers facilities for everything, and they both play at Heinz Field and all that kind of shit.
Like, they play at Heinz Field.
It's not even Heinz Field anymore. I know it's called something else. But Ben Roethlisberger actually came out and said, like, "Hey, man, do you know what hurts Pitt? Them playing at an NFL, like being part of an NFL facility type thing, where it's not theirs. It's like, whatever. Look, the University of Miami, they play at, where the Dolphins play. Again, that's 40 minutes from freaking campus, dude. Like, now they're good. So, like, kids and guys travel, but that's one of the things Mike Smith always said about Miami. He's like, dude, like, the Orange Bowl was something different, where that was Miami. Like, this is the spot. This is where we play. They had the, like, longest home winning streak in, like, the history of football. Like, and now they go and now they're playing in a pro stadium and it's away from campus, and it's all of those little things I think play such a role when it comes to college athletics. But at the same time, saying that, I don't think it matters to the players very much. Like, I don't think those guys give a shit where they play or what. Like, I think that's one of the last things they look at as a player, saying like, hey, I want to go to this school because, Nebraska's stadium is like amazing, or Iowa, right? Like, we have this little, like, our own type of like thing. I think you're going to see what's his name at Wisconsin get the out soon. If you don't change Fickle, like, that's, I think, the next one on the chopping block.
They're having a rough year,
dude. I think people are pissed the traditionalists and the money people, that the donors are mad, or because he tried to change what the staple of what was Wisconsin, right? Like every year, run the ball. He wanted to bring in a spread. It's why you saw Phil Longo get fired, right? And now he's at Sam Houston. Like he brought him in to run the air raid and do all that. Like, dude, they're not capitalizing on what was Wisconsin football, run the ball, do all that kind of stuff. Like, and now you're losing the Wisconsin kids.
That's the big part.
That's just like when Nebraska went away from the walk-on type of gig. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is a Nebraska kid. I think Rule understands that enough.
Yeah, and
Look, it's why I think you're going to see.
Used to be the best, but it's become a tougher place to.
It's why I think you're going to see Temple start to do better, because I think Keeler understands that Philly landscape of what it is there. You know what I mean? I think he grasps that. Where I don't think some guys like really do. The one that's really interesting to me is, dude, on paper, like I know Fran Brown is whatever at Syracuse, and he's like a really like, you know, there's a lot of media attention around him because of like who he is. But dude, on paper, they are not very good, and they're losing games bad, like bad.
Bad. I happened to. What was the game they just played?
They got lit up, dude.
Oh, because we watched Notre Dame a lot.
That's it. Dude, the kids from DePaul were getting reps for Notre Dame, dude.
Eric, that game. I watched, I would say, 3/4 of that game.
And you can't watch it.
Actually it became, you know, sometimes you watch a game and then you're like, it's so bad. You're like, how many points can this team actually score in a game?
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch.
They scored 70 points. And I'm not kidding when I say this. If Freeman
the two freshmen from DePaul were seeing like, what's his name had like 5-7 carries.
If Freeman wanted to, he could have scored 150 points in that game. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. They were not tackling anybody. Like, it wasn't until they got to the really bottom of the barrel. Not that those kids are bottom of the barrel. Obviously, they're going to be good players.
Right. We're not saying that.
I'm saying fifth string guys. And it wasn't until they got like those guys in that Syracuse kind of just was physically more dominant than the fifth stringers. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. And that's really, I think, how you like match it up. It's like Notre Dame has their threes, their fours in, and they're still scoring at will.
UConn is kicking themselves because that game, in retrospect, they were winning the game. They blew that game. They should not have blown that game because they actually probably were much better, to be honest.
Than Syracuse, you're saying?
Yeah. Because they beat Duke. They beat Air Force.
Dude, Duke. That's a huge win. That's a great win. You know what I mean? Like UConn has some really good wins, dude.
You know, their schedule is weak. They're like a top 50 team this year. My point is Syracuse has gone from
down
to like there was hope to they might now the way that they're playing in the last few weeks. Like look at their scores the last few weeks.
Brutal.
It's insane. Like they've fallen off the cliff.
Yep.
Like they lost 70-7 to Notre Dame. Miami 38-10.
70 in itself costs you some recruits. Like just that number, like 70, dude. 70.
UNC smoked them. UNC stinks. Okay, they beat them 27-10. Anyway. What? Where's he going? Where do you think he's going?
Giants.
Oh yeah.
Now here's my thing.
That would not shock me.
Listen, this is a crazy take. Okay. And it's obviously because I'm a homer. Dude, Anthony Campanelle and what he's done with the Jaguars defense this year. Unfucking believable. Right? The Giants turned him down to be the DC. If I'm whoever gets the Giants gig. Now, if it's Belichick, this isn't going to happen because he's going to run the defense, whatever. Whoever gets that gig.
I don't think he runs it anymore. I think he just overseas. He has a DC.
But I think if he goes back to the Giants, I think he takes more of a hand. Plus, I feel like
yeah.
he
has his guys.
This year for him is like he's been like out of football. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, he probably calls Matt Patricia from Ohio State and says, dude, you're coming back and you're going to be the DC with me for the Giants.
Right.
I would see that. You know what I mean? Something like that. But I mean, that to me, like, go hire the Jersey guy who's been only trending this way. He took the Jaguars from whatever to this without Travis Hunter. You know what I'm saying? Like, majority of the year, the Jaguars are winning. Like, what? I mean, look, I know it's a new head coach. I know it's a new, but come on, dude. Like, you're telling me that move isn't whatever. Now, look, you want to be really crazy? Just make him the head coach. Like, you know, Giants would never do that.
Not yet.
But I'm saying, you want to do that? Go for it, bro. Like, you really want to do something crazy? You really want to get people happy about, like, the Giants again? Bring in the, like, first member of the New Jersey football family and make him the head coach of that team.
I know. And I would agree with that, but I don't think to the players it matters as much. I think it's a matter of, like, he's a very good coach. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, the NFL players don't care about that stuff.
For what the Giants are, if we're talking Giants specific, dude, like, you need to get a guy in there. And I think this guy does a great job, but it has to be somebody who's going to be conducive and work with Jackson Dart. That's the whole thing, right? Because he's a different type of player. How do you deal with it? He's like, you don't want to kill him. You don't want him to be like a Robert Griffin III, like, where all of a sudden he has like these really good things. Like, that's how he plays, dude. He plays with reckless abandonment. Like, are you going to come in? Are you going to change that? Are you going to try and tweak it? Or are you going to work with it so that by year 5, he's not continuing to make those runs or take those hits or do whatever? You have all the weapons. You got the running back, you got the receiver, you got tight ends to boot. The O-line has gotten better, right? The giant pieces are there. The defense is fucking unbelievable, dude. Like, that should be a top 5 defense in the league, and they can't tackle on the edge. They need a better secondary. Like, that's their weakest port to me, is their secondary. They can't tackle in open space. And I'm not a Giants fan. I've just, kind of watched it from afar.
What I like about Campanelli as a coach is his style. So,
dude, of course,
I think his style. First of all, his style of play, like, it reminds me of Bob Hurley. So,
yes,
not Bob
absolutely.
Hurley. Bob Hurley's the one in Arizona.
Dan Hurley.
Dan Hurley. Bob Hurley.
Dude, his presser
Bob
the other day
Hurley's
was
a great
great.
coach too, but he's
old.
No, I don't think that's that. I think that Bob Hurley. So I think Bob Hurley, because he was such a great player, he wins a lot. By the way, he just beat his brother. He beat Dan the other day. So Arizona.
Where's he? Arizona State.
Arizona.
He's still at Arizona State, right?
Arizona, I think.
He's
Arizona. I mean, look it up. I might be wrong.
I thought he was Arizona State. I love how he went West Coast and stayed when he never left from where he was with the Kings.
Okay, Arizona State. Okay, so I'm wrong. It was somebody else. But I think his style. Bob Hurley was such a good player. Probably
way better than Dan.
Has less of a chip than Dan. Dan's
got a Dan. Listen, so this is what's really cool, Dave, is my cousin was at Seton Hall when Dan was a player. So I knew Dan Hurley as like a basketball player for Seton Hall University, dude. Like, it was really to see, but it was cool because so I knew him first. I didn't know Bob Hurley. I didn't know the dad. I didn't know any of that. So like then oh my God. So then you start
getting older than Bob Hurley. Bob Hurley might be old.
Dave, 100%.
Dan is probably my age. Dan's probably my age.
Dan is right around 50. Dan's right around 50.
I think he was in college when I was in college.
Yes. Mid-90s, dude.
Yeah. Dan Hurley he's older than me, actually. He's 52.
Yes.
Going to be 53. So he was actually.
And his brother, Bob Hurley was born in 71. So what's that?
Oh, okay.
60?
So he's 3. So he's 71. So he's 54. Okay. So he's 2 years older than him. He's a little older. He's a little bit older. He's 50.
I mean,
He's
but
54.
remember, his
But
chip.
I think Dan Hurley's chip, like Bob Hurley, even though he got hurt and he didn't get
Right, I was gonna say that's his chip. His chip is, hey, my career was cut short by some dumb shit. That's his chip. Dan's chip was nobody ever gave me a chance. I was always little Bobby's brother, like all this kind of shit. Like watch
and
me.
he's good still, but no one.
Dude,
Right,
good, but not
credit.
Bob, but not Duke good or NBA good or you know what I mean? Like that's his chip, and that's what he kept. Dude, I heard his presser the other day was great. He's like, "Yep, we're gonna celebrate Thanksgiving, eat all the turkey, do all that shit on Wednesday, so that the tryptophan isn't in their system to play on Friday when we get to MSG." And I'm like, "Buddy, I fucking love you. I can't wait to dive into his new book. Like that's the number one.
Did you see his new his it's going viral. His interview where he talked about. Did you see it
with the point guard?
No, he talked about I'll play it. I think I can find it.
The one I saw was he was talking about how his relationship with his point guard or his like best player right now is rocky because he's all over his shit. He's like, look, man, when these guys come in, like I got to get them where they need to go. So like they might not like me these first 2 years. And then he referenced a previous relationship with a player where he came in, he was all over him. And then, you know, before you know it, like we're just building this relationship.
This is a newer one. This is a video on, I'll find it because you'll like it.
I think he's great, dude. I love him anyway. I just like him.
So basically, he basically talks about how today, basically, like he talks about his coaching style, and he says basically they need this. Like they need kids today, coaches today don't coach people hard. No. They don't demand of them. They're worried about what's going to happen. You know, getting right. He's like, you gotta coach every aspect. Basically, you'll find it. You look it up, you'll find it. But he's his point is basically like you gotta let yourself be coached. Like it's not gonna be all peaches and cream, like how everybody wants it. And I think it's a good message overall for all people to understand, because I think that if you want
coach you hard, man,
if you want them to be better. You've got to push them. Okay. Well, with a high school kid, if you're really hard on him, may he go home that night and cry a little bit. You know what? He might.
Yeah.
You know what? But that's okay. Like mom and dad would be like, did coach punch you or something? No. He got on me. Okay. Well, guess what? That's life. He wants you to be better. He's not getting on you because he wants you to be worse. He wants you to be better, right? And he's trying to get you to demand more of yourself. And that's what Bobby talks about. Like guys are hard. Like, listen, I talked to my not St. Leo's, by the way. The one thing I will give them credit for, they push those fucking kids. They push them. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell you this, like Troy goes in there, he's playing, and this may be why some of the kids are busting his chops. I don't know. He went last game. Like they play like a fifth quarter for the fifth graders because they may not play as much as the sixth graders, which I think is great. It's like an extra quarter. So they play 8 minutes. He's both times he scored 4 points. And he's only playing half that 8 minutes, by the way, because they're rotating kids. And he scored 4 points both times. And then he came into the JV game. And he scored 4 more points the other game. And he's playing center and forward, which he's been a point guard since he was 6 years old. So he's had to adapt his style. And you know what? Like he's shorter most of the time than the centers, but he just goes right at him. I'm like, you know what? You're doing good, dude. You're doing good. Like you're playing whatever. Because at first he was upset. And I said, you know what? Just play whatever. Just show them what you could do. And they will see it. Like cream rises to the top. You play it. You play great at center. They know that you asked them to play point guard. You play great at center. You score at center. You bring he gets rebounds. They let him bring the ball up when he gets a rebound. They don't stop him from that. And they see it, dude. They see it. And if you embrace the role, coaches know. Watching at first, he was like, he looks like a football player. So you know how basketball coaches are. He's not like the lanky, skinny. So they kind of have now. Obviously, he made the team, but now they're like, okay, we'll play him a little more. We're playing him a little more, playing him a little more, right? And that'll keep happening. Like, just do what they ask you to do. You kind of, that's why I asked those questions about it, because in a school, it's different than club. Like, when club's over, like, you don't see anybody until next practice. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
So, but in school, you see them the next day. You literally see them the next day. So,
that's what makes school ball so different.
That's what makes it great. And it's great because I said to him, like, the last game after you guys won, you scored, you were sick, you didn't go into school the next day. I'm like, when you go into school after a win, trust me, like, yeah, there'll be haters on you guys, but you're a celebrity, dude. You're a star. Your team won yesterday. They're going to be everyone in the school is excited because you guys won. So he doesn't understand that yet. But my point of all of it is that I love how Hurley demands that. Like, I talked to our club coach about it. I'm like, listen, these kids, I know he was with a different team last year, and he's like, I said, these kids, you can push them.
Well, that's the other thing too. I think that's why having the pulse of your team is so freaking important, dude. Like, you have some kids that you can't, right? Like, just like you got to coach everybody individually. Like, some of these kids have to be pushed or they'll stay the same. I think one of the things too, and we've talked about this before, is like, coaches tend to shy away and not coach the best player because they're the best player. That guy should be coached harder than anybody else, because if you want to get them to where they ultimately probably want to be, or if you want to get your team to a certain standard, now you see the bulk of your roster watching you coach the best player really hard and nitpick and do those things. Now they fall in line saying, oh shit, he's coaching that guy like that. Like, what is he going to do to me? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I think, head coaches, I think coaches in general, like, everybody's afraid to coach kids hard and do whatever. But look, man, like, I'm very open with my guys. Like, hey, man, I'm going to coach you to a certain level. I'm going to coach you really, really, really hard. And there are going to be times when you're not going to like me and you're going to be pissed, and it is what it is. And why is he picking on me and whatever? I'm saying, but look, that's the standard. And look, I'll never leave you feeling a certain type of way. I'll always have a conversation with you if I get on you. But like, this is what it is, especially if you tell me I want to play at that next level. Dude, now I'm coaching you a totally different way.
And why I try to say to these kids is, dude, you're gonna have ups and downs. Like, literally.
Yes.
Now, there are some, like, you could always look at another person and find someone who is, and you could always look around, find someone that's you. Okay, you could. It's always going to happen, no matter how good you are, unless you're like, even Tom Brady probably doesn't feel like he did everything he could. So
of course,
that's why he is who he is, right? And he is what you would call the GOAT. But like, that's the whole point of it all, is that, I saw this an interview with do you remember the group Smashing Pumpkins?
Yeah.
You remember them? So
yeah.
Smashing, remember they're still, I guess, around, but you remember the but like, they're not as prominent as they once. Do you remember their lead singer? He had like bald head, like,
yeah.
So he interviews a lot of different things. I don't know why it's in my feed. It must be something about motivation or something. But he comes in my feed here and there because he goes on a lot of different shows because he has very young kids, but he's literally like my age, maybe older, and probably older. And he talks about how at an incredibly young age, he was a millionaire. Incredibly young age, like early 20s, millionaire. Okay. Which, by the way, obviously it's so hard to relate to when he says that. But he said the point is this. He's like, I got to that point. I basically, in my mid-20s, had what you would quote unquote say is everything you could ever want. And he said, I had this feeling of emptiness. He's like, and because I realized I had everything I want, and everybody was like, when's your next song? Are you going to ever have a number one hit again? It's not enough, and blah, 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 all these things. He said, and it took me a while to realize it, but I realized there's always going to be someone selling more records. Mm-hmm. There's always someone that's going to be someone thinks is a better singer than me. There's always someone that's going to think that my singing sucks. There's someone who's going to think my singing is great. There's someone who's gonna make more money than me. There's someone who's gonna be cooler than I am over all these different things, right? So I realized there's always, it took me a while to realize, but it's never going to be enough. I have to be motivated for myself to do the best I can. And he said, but I wanted my family to understand that they're the most important thing. None of this stuff is as important as they are. And I want them to understand that, because if you get caught up in what you get, then you forget what it's about. You know what I mean? So when you get caught up on the prize, like
yes.
the
Well,
gold
listen,
medal.
Georgia just talked about that. Like, guys get so enamored with, the
prize,
reward, the trophy, the whatever.
And right. And you know what? Like, I say this to my kid all the time. I said, I just want you to understand this. I didn't win that many championships at all. Now you did, but I did not win that many championships as an athlete. Like, I won a lot in track. We won a bazillion of those. Football, I never won a championship, ever. As an athlete. I did as a coach, but not as an athlete.
Different.
So, yeah.
But I think that adds the level of like why you coach the way you do.
Right. But I because in track, when I coach hard,
shapes you.
Coaching track is very technical, and I know that if you get certain athletes in track and you coach them, like if I could get really fast kids as a sport coach, and I put everybody in those positions, most people don't coach track as a main deal. Okay, in high school, most guys it's a second sport. Okay, or they're a distance running coach. But when you get a group of sprinters, most people who coach track are really distance runners, because they had the best experience with track, distance runners, because a lot of times that's the best avenue to go into college. You run cross country, you run winter, you run spring. You
have 3 seasons to do it, right?
Right. You don't have an overwhelming plethora of sprinters getting into track, because really they were football players or basketball players, and they ran track because they were athletic. So I learned in that, which is why I lost interest like coaching it, because my father obviously was a great coach, so he was already getting me the athletes in my stuff I coached. He would get me the athletes, and I knew that if I could coach these guys. Like, one year I had 5 20-footers on Saddlebrook, okay, which is tiny Saddlebrook. People are like, how do you have so many 20-footers? I'm like, my father gets me the athletes. I take them.
I do it.
And I make them, I teach them how to do things correctly and to make them a better jumper. We had we had 5 40-footers one year in the triple jump. Now they're capped by their overall ability to relative to mega superstar. Like Hesbrook Heights had a kid that went 50 feet one year in a triple jump, which is unbelievable, or 49 feet. And, our best guy was Pomo, who was like 46, but he wasn't like that kid. Pomo was a better long jumper than him, but was not a better trip. That kid was like 6'4", like the kid in Mount Olive, you know what I mean? The tall, you know what I'm saying? Triple jumper is different than a long jumper, different guys. So they're long and they have the big strides. And but you could take them. In football, you obviously need athletes, but everybody, it's all different roles. So you have to be able to push them to stay involved in a process, because of what you said. There's only one game a week. You know what I'm saying? And what's nice about track is you get immediate feedback, right?
Immediate.
You go in long jump and you go 21 feet and you're normally a 20-footer. You had a great day. And
it's also because you can actually see those numbers, right? Like,
correct.
Sometimes that's what's hard about football. You're an offensive lineman. How do you tell? Well, hey, man, we rushed for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, and you were on the offensive line. Like, you did a really good job. But because you didn't score a touchdown or the rushing yards don't go to your name, they can't compute that. There's nothing. There's no rock hard evidence, right? Like, a quarterback goes, 10 for 14 and 5 touchdowns, a great day, buddy. You know what I'm saying? You can see it. It's right there. That's why Tony Holler's process of rank, record, and publish is such a big thing. Like, dude,
such a big deal.
And that's why the technology with like the OVR stuff, like we can put numbers to it. It also like that now shows administrators like, look, here's the data, something you can see. It's not something you have to be around it to see it. You know what I mean?
I got to tell you something so interesting about the OVR. I'm pulling it up. So yesterday, like Troy had made all this really great progress in OVR with his speed movement. He had 2 basketball games on Sunday, but I'm like, when am I going to lift? So I'm like, I figured we lift Monday and Wednesday, and we try to lift 2 days a week, and so I didn't know what other days we'd be able to squeeze in. So it kind of was like, let's squeeze it in Monday, because I don't know if Thursday you're probably not going to lift, family. And then now you're going to be at Friday. I don't know if you're going to have basketball or we're going away. Who knows what we're going to, what's going to happen. Right. So what was interesting when you're tracking, if I just did a normal lift, to me, it looked like he was lifting the same exact way he always did. But because I was tracking, he's like, my numbers aren't as good. I'm like, yep. You know why?
100%.
He's like, because I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, you're tired. It really has an impact. He was hitting like 1.1 on the bar speed or something like that. I'm trying to pull it up. Of course, as I'm trying to pull it up, for some reason, OVR is freezing. But it was like 1.1. And then yesterday, he's like, my numbers are like 0.85. And I'm like, it's because you're tired. And the only reason I knew he was really tired, because usually we do a little bit of each week we test the vertical jump the same day that we test we do the OVR lifts, and he didn't want to do the vertical jump because he's like, I'm like, all right, let's just lift and then be done with it, right? And but I knew, I was already in my head thinking the numbers are going to be lower. He doesn't realize it until he looks at it. You know what I mean? Because if you were to watch it, to me, like the naked eye, honestly, Derek, it looked exactly the same to me. I would never have known, if there weren't numbers to it, that his output was less. I would have never known, because it looked exactly the same to me. It looked exactly this. Like, his effort was great. You know what I mean? He was other than, he told me,
but he just literally couldn't do it.
he couldn't go as fast as an explosive. So think about when you do workouts with a kid, okay, when this is what Tony talks about with the injuries and stuff. So you're not going to know by looking at a person, right?
No.
So you could put them through a workout and they look the same, and then all of a sudden next day they come in and they're injured. Because when you're just naked eye looking at it, everything looks pretty much the same.
Absolutely. It all looks the same.
And OVR, I'm videoing him. So for the most part, I mean, he wasn't coming all the way up like he normally does, which is also an indicator that he might be a little tired. Like, normally he comes all the way up on a trap bar deadlift. He didn't want to jump on the trap bar. So I knew, but the numbers tell you, wow, okay, he's not the same guy as when he's fresh, because his numbers are significantly off. And you would never know. If I showed you the video of the two things, you'd be like, wow, it looks almost exactly the same. Because OVR is cool because you could video it right from your the app. So you're videoing it as it's putting its numbers in there for you. And that's sick, right?
Sick.
The only thing that's different is, and I talked to the guy on OVR. I don't know if I'm talking to the guy that we interviewed, but I'm talking to one of the OVR guys. I said, what would be really cool? You guys, if you get an API, so I could port that to any site I use, because obviously, and if once I have an OVR, I could use it with multiple athletes, because I can only put in one account and I have to record it manually or export it and then attribute it to each person, which is kind of like cumbersome. You know what I mean? So like, if you were to do it, I said, other than that, the OVR is awesome. It's awesome. So if we're able to get it where you could port the results, right, and also track multiple people, like your whole team, OVR will blow everything away if you do that, because the other stuff is great, but the like Dasher and those things, what makes it great is that you could do it with multiple athletes. You could do a whole combine, or you could do your whole team, and you get the individual results. But this OVR films you. You could film it and it tracks it while you're filming it, which is totally different.
It all comes back to direct feedback.
It's so good. I'll send you a couple clips. You're gonna be like, oh my god.
We put one of the Titan sensors on a kid the other day. It was awesome, dude.
It's awesome. I ordered
So sick.
Titans.
I'm like, dude, this is sick.
I'm putting one Titan in my.
Plus, like geeks, like sport geeks and freaks like us that'll dive into whatever can possibly, like, you know what I mean? Like, now you're telling me I get to work with data and all this other kind of, like, come on, dude. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? It's like Christmas morning over here, dude. Because like now you have stuff that you can literally look at, break down, and then now you'll get another kid to put it on and compare and contrast. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I thought this kid was one thing, but now all of a sudden, like, holy shit, like this dude. He's like flying off the hand here, like awesome. You know what I mean?
Well, revising your workout plans and what,
dude, it just the tweaking of like what it is, the more individual you can do to it. Now it's like, hey, this kid needs this kid needs more of that. Like, it's no longer, I'm telling you, dude, that cookie cutter bullshit of like, here's the workout, it's on the board, go do it. Like, you ain't getting fucking better. Like, no wonder everybody's like average. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just hitting the masses, like, generally. You're not diving into what it really is based off of that stuff. Like, that's where you can really start to freaking hit the ground running, bro.
Right. And to your point, you put the cookie cutter workout on the board. John Smith just went to wide receiver training and worked his off for an hour and a half. He's giving you nothing. You might be better off doing a light workout with him that day, and the next day coming back and hitting him with the workout. You know what I'm saying? So you start to, when like, I would be like, dude, like, my perfect world would be like, I wish I could trust kids and that they wouldn't lose it. Right. And I'd be like, listen, here's your Titan. When you go to wide receiver training,
take it,
put this thing on, dude, and activate it so we can get your numbers there, so we could track it, all the things you're doing, and I'm sure they do it in college, right? But so we can know when you're doing this. So now I get this result from your wide receiver training, or you're training with another trainer or whatever, speed or lifting, and I could then take that and go, oh my God, his output was this yesterday. Today I got to keep his output here. I'm talking about off season. In season, it's great because you don't have to worry about them going as much other things. But out of season, okay, great. Now I can, or he doesn't need to do anything tomorrow. Like, come back on Thursday. Or just go through a light, like, like those exercises that Tony talks about, the little quick speed exercises. Go through that and be gone, right? And then the next day you come back, and now you'll come back. And maybe you could dial it up a little bit, right? And I think that really,
that balance, man, is so, because again, back to the whole quality over quantity thing, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you really, like,
because when you have your own kid, I think by the time you have kids, you already have kids, but by the time your kids,
dude, think about it, Dave. Like, Carter comes on January 8th, right? January 8th, 2026. That's when my son is born. Dude, Troy's what, 11?
Will be 11 in June.
Think about 11 years ago.
Yeah, and there was nothing. There might have been Catapult. There's Catapult.
But Dave, just think about where
it's going to be
coaching.
Dude, so when your kid's 10 years old, right?
Jesus Christ, dude.
You'll have him, you'll be knowing everything he's doing, and you'll know what he needs to work on. You'll know what he doesn't. You won't even have to have the conversation with him.
Nope.
Like, we need to work on this. He'll be able to see it. Like, oh wow, Dad, yesterday
he'll grow up with it.
I took 25 shots. I made 10 out of 15 on my tracker. And yeah, but the results say that I need to work on my layup efficiency was low. Like, you'll be able to
and then hey, and he'll be able to have plugged in. And guess what, Dad? Like, I ate this for breakfast this morning and had this drink, you know what I mean? So when I shot at 3:00 in the afternoon, like, and I slept this much last night, like, dude, all that shit's going to be able to be plugged in.
You're going to be able to,
it's going to be like, oh, well, guess what, man? Like, look, maybe that, whatever, like, maybe that apple before really made you do whatever. So we better have an apple before, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, dude. Or, hey, look, Dad, I was on my phone right before I went to sleep. I only slept for 6 hours. I was up at this point, you know, whatever, like this, that, whatever. All right, dude. Well, look, and then, but Dad, like when I didn't mess with my phone before I went to bed, I got better sleep, and all of that stuff will now be factored into your information data, right? Whereas, like, that wasn't a thing, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it absolutely.
It's wild.
It's amazing. You know, you're gonna be like the things like the GLP-1s, but 10 years from now, they're gonna know the precise amount of what they
God.
can give you. So it'll be perfect. Like right now, obviously you're guessing for the most part in those kind of things, right?
Absolutely.
You're the, you know, the state, but eventually you're going to get metabolic results. Okay. Cause they do get metabolic results already, but they don't really have it where it's like, okay, here's the prescription for your specific metabolic results. But in 10 years, because of AI, you're going to be able to get your metabolic results. And let's say you're struggling with weight loss. It's going to say, based off your metabolic results, you need this amount of GLP-1 for X amount of time, and then you're going to need to supplement it with this, and you're going to need to supplement it with that, so you don't have all the risks. You know, like those risks that people have with some of these things, it's only because they don't know if your body chemistry fits with the drug, right? So eventually you'll know that the body chemistry with XYZ drug for whatever it is, right, fits with your body chemistry at this prescribed amount with these kind of supplements to balance it out and all these. And then you'll know, you'll get a trajectory to get you back.
It's just more plugged in and dialed into it. You're not dealing in the generals anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just going by the masses or, hey, this is the highest percentage, so we're doing this. Like, dude, it is going to be like pinpoint, laser focused. Like, this is the number you need to hit. This is how much you need to do. Now, look, you can do that now, but it costs a lot of money. Like only the rich of the rich.
Like
LeBron James spending over. Look, like, but even this, like, I look at it like this, like LeBron James spending how much money over, you know, he spends how much money on his body a year. That guy can only, right? Like, who's the other one?
Well, if you think about it, the cost has come down, right? Because before,
oh, of course, and it's going to continue.
It was only LeBron that could do it before. Or
that's
Kobe.
what I mean. Like, but now the guys with the like, look, yeah, absolutely, and
but it's still high. It's still high.
What I'm saying, and because like the guys that play in college have access to some of this stuff now or whatever, they're just going to continue to run with it and be like, hey, how the hell do I get a hyperbaric chamber in my house? How the hell do I have, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be a push to be, and look, now those guys will dive into, okay, if we do this, we can bring the cost down or whatever. Like, I look at, like, what's his name? Like Kittle. Okay. Like, he does everything he does. Like, I think he does like stem cell stuff, like for his knees or whatever, where he has to go to, like, I don't know, fucking, you know, one of these islands or stuff. But whatever he does with that, Dave, he like works out a deal where like he'll promote it or he'll, you know, whatever, so that they cut the cost for him. Because, hey, if George Kittle's using this, how many other guys are going to use this now? You know what I mean? Like, the guys are going to figure out ways to do things like that, you know, just to bring that cost down. Because eventually, like, yeah, man, everything's going to be a Walmart. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely. My neighbor told me that it's funny you brought up the stem cell. In Europe, that might be where Kittle gets it from. In Europe, there's a injection for the knees.
Yeah, it rebuilds cartilage. Right.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah, it's gonna come here in January. So like I went.
Yeah, rather than have to go in and do whatever, it's like, hey, yes, like, I told you, if I could, I would find a doctor right now and get a knee replacement and go. Like, and
I have a guy for you, by the way.
I can't, whatever. In the city?
No, if you don't want to go to city, I have the guy that
I don't care where I have to go.
The guy, okay. Well, I have a guy for you in the city if you want, but but if you wanted to do one here who's very good, the guy who is interested in doing who I could get my partial from, I sat with him, I talked with him about it. He's great, and he explained everything to me, and he's, you know,
look, ever since we talked to the Miami baseball guy, And he said,
Yeah,
dude, like,
in your
he's
head.
like, the fact that he was like, dude, I've been able to,
He didn't get
I
a
can do,
partial. He got whole, right? He was so
but
bad.
he was like, I can do, and look, he was military. So like, that's grinding. Like that's comparable to like college football, but he's, I also played a year on AstroTurf. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I got everything. But like when he was like, man, I can do box jumps now and it's amazing. Like that to me, I was like, fuck it. Hey dude, like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? And now even with like, obviously
The only thing you sacrificed, I heard,
like with Carter coming, dude, I want to be able to like, I don't want to look, I'm going to be an older dad. Like, I don't want to be that older dad that can't be like playing in the whatever or doing the whatever with them because, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I see it with my daughter now. Like she wants to freaking do some things. And I'm like, dude, baby, you can't do that. Daddy's shoulder or daddy's, I don't want to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be that dad.
Yeah, I would say I was lucky until he was about 8. I could still, if I had to, sprint with him. I can't really sprint now. But
I can run with her now because she's 2. But like eventually, like, what are we talking about, dude? You know what I mean? Like, and she's a fast little fucker, dude. Like, I'm pumped. Maybe she's gonna be a cross country person, Dave. Like, she just loves to run. I would love that. I'm like, shit, you might not be able to sprint, girl, but like, if you can just fucking go, we're good. I'm like, we're good. Like, let's go. She's
running.
She loves it.
And people who run, it's good for their life too. They
dude, it's so good. And listen, she's also one of these, like, all she wants to do is be outside. Like, she never wants to be inside, bro. So, that's my selling point. Like, wifey, like, you're really going to keep this kid indoors for the next whatever months because it's cold out? Like, come on now. Warm weather. Like, we don't have to hit Florida, but North Carolina looks really nice.
No doubt about it. Oh, I didn't save yesterday's data. Yeah, it was slightly lower. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Slightly lower. He brought it up to me. He's like,
because now lower. He's programmed to it.
He's like, it's lower,
which is amazing.
I don't know how he remembers it.
Listen, Troy's a savant, bro.
Because I didn't remember.
Troy's always been really smart, bro.
He's smart. He's a good student. That's probably why he takes things seriously when people talk to him. Because
and look, I think he'll be okay with that. That's just one of those things you got to teach you to be like, dude, listen, you're better than them. They're jealous of you. You just stay in your lane, continue.
Or they may not know how to handle it.
Well, those kids don't. They don't know how to be like.
They don't know how to handle like.
They don't know how to do that shit, dude. They don't understand. They don't even understand what's going on. Why is Troy on this team and I am on that team? Why is this? Right. Like, they don't get it, bro. And look, it's only going to get worse when it starts bringing in girls and bringing in all that shit like to it. Like, that's all part of this whole fucking thing. You know what I mean, dude? Like, being cool and all the peer pressure bullshit of like, oh, well, I can drink 5 beers or whatever. Dude, that shit all comes into line. You just got to teach them how to make the right decisions and ignore the nonsense, dude. You know what I mean? Like, ignore the bullshit, bro. Like, hey, you're different. You're always going to be different. It's a positive.
Different.
It's a positive to be different. You're a leader. You don't need to do what those other guys do. You don't act like that, right? You treat everybody with the utmost respect, whether it's, the friggin' guy that's cleaning the floors or whether it's your head fucking coach or your principal. Like, you treat them all the same. Everybody gets respect, right? But like, no, you're different. That's okay. And fucking continue to do what you're doing, buddy. Because just by them acting like this should already tell you you're in a different category. And that category leads to more positive things, buddy.
You know what? I think it was interesting because I think the way he looks at it, like when he's on like in basketball where there's an 18 group of kids, he doesn't say anything to those kids. He could care and he's on
he knows he has at a really young age, dude. He understands like levels. Like, hey, this is my rec league. This is my real league. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like he gets all that. He knows where it's at. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm going to play again. I'm going to play with way better players on this day. This is my fun league. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I really like the, I tell you, it's being back in a school environment.
Oh, dude, that's so fun. Because you're playing for the name on the front of the jersey, dude. But you're playing for the name, like you're playing for something bigger rather than just your own individual shit. And then, like you said, it does add a little something different when you have to see that kid in school the next day.
Right. And listen, once that's
dude, school sports will always fucking be the best thing ever, dude.
It really is. Like it's
Look,
funny.
even though whatever with Saddlebrook and you and Saddlebrook or whatever, you still love being part of Saddlebrook. Bro.
Oh yeah, it was my friends. I mean, it was. Listen, it was my
Dude,
friends.
It's
It
why,
was-
like, fuck, dude. Like, I go back to that game this weekend, watch Butler fucking play in that game, dude. It was amazing. You're rooting, you're cheering like a fucking, like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, I felt like, you're like, dude, you're a loser. But, like, fuck no. I want them to do really fucking good, dude. Like, really fucking good.
Are they in the championship?
They lost to Cedar Grove this weekend. Dude, the kid drilled a 49-yard field goal to win it
Oh,
with
that
no
was
time left.
their game that happened.
Dave, it was unfucking believable.
49.
Like, unbelievable. Dave, 49, and Dave, I'm telling you, it would have been good from 58. Dave, it was a fucking bomb.
Is that kid a Division I kicker? Or
100%. You know what? And the only reason I know is because Krautman was there, Ricky.
Oh,
Dude, losing his mind, like going crazy. Like, I had to explain to people, like, they're like, this fucking guy? And I'm like, this is who he is. Like, he's quirky, he's a kicker, he's whatever. I said, but he knows his shit. So, like, listen, opening kickoff, right? Like, I'm standing next to my dad. Dude, Dave, this kid put it through the end zone, like through the uprights on the opening kickoff. My dad turns to me and he's like, it's a fucking problem. I'm like, yeah, you think? Like,
and I'm just,
dude, no returns the entire game, right? And then, like, this is where I thought they fucked up. I thought they fucked up because they were driving in, like, I don't know, the middle of the fourth or early fourth. Maybe it was like the end of the third. And, dude, it was like on the 20-yard line. And I'm like, dude, they're going to bang a field goal here. And they went for it on fourth down, which I think actually spun his mind. And now that's why he did kick it at the end. Because they were playing, dude, it was overtime. Like, we're like, all right, it's going to overtime or whatever. And I'm like, no, he's going to fucking try this kick. And, like, why wouldn't you? I said, as long as this is anything worth, like, of a snap and a hold, like, this is going through the upright. So I asked Rick, I'm like, Rick, like, what's his mindset like? He's like, dude, this is a fucking make, no doubt. Like, this kid is rock solid. He don't like this situation of, like, hey, this is to win fucking Group 1 North. Like, not even going to play a factor for him. I'm like, really? And, dude, I'm telling you, Dave, when he drilled it, it was a fucking bomb.
Krautman must have put him under a lot of pressure a lot of different times.
That's what he does. That's like part of his, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his training.
I know.
Yeah, he's always yelling shit or, like, I don't know. He's just, look, he's fucking off his bonker. Like, he's nuts. But he's still really good at what he does.
He's great at what he does.
And there ain't many kicking coaches in the country. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's putting together something. He's got some sessions going at he's using Mount Olive's bubble, and I'm like, because he lives in Milford, PA. So I'm like, oh, buddy.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. I'm like, what do they charge you for that? He's like, $500 an hour. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Rick, like, you better have 50 kids coming for your sessions, dude. $500 an hour. He's like, yeah, but it's, it's one of the only places I can literally go inside and actually kick without, like, having to worry about hitting the ceiling or hitting a wire going across. And I'm like, you're right. Because look, even down here, you can only really go to that Venture Crossing. That's the only spot you could really go to and kick. Like, other than that, these other places, like, you can't go to Capelli.
They got their Venture Crossing started to come out with. I had a meeting with them.
Well, they're
coming out with their own stuff.
Well, I saw Lang's doing, like, a girls' flag thing. He's calling it the Shamrock Series there. So he's doing stuff there.
Okay. A girl flag tournament or
no, just like sessions.
Oh.
A lot of these guys are jumping on that.
Like
Montclair State is holding like a little like
coaching sessions, like a
like one-on-ones, like where we would be like, hey, receiver training. They're doing like girls flag training. I'm telling you, here it comes.
Here it comes.
I mean, look, even Montclair State's doing one.
Clinic?
Like, for girls, like their girls staff is putting together like a pseudo like showcase type of skill stuff, like where they can bring girls on campus and be like, because there ain't no fucking rules right now, like whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's gonna be a monster.
Yep.
Yeah, like
I mean, look, I saw a girl who plays on that Brick Elite team. And Point Borough is starting this year with girls flag. So that add another hammer to the mix. One of those girls just verbaled to play for a school in PA, like literally put it up like, hey, I'm committing to to play flag football. Like,
well, we the girls, I mean, the girls' flag in our stuff has become like if you watch the games, you're like, I can't believe how good they are now.
I
Can't
know,
believe
dude. And it
the same-
happened so fast.
the same girls have been playing most of them for a couple of years, and now
Yep.
we used to have to combine 8 and 10. Now 8 has a group, a 10 has a group of 12, and they want me to do 14 now. They're like, oh, we're all graduating from 12. Can we do 14? Which is totally different than boys, because the truth is boys after 12 don't want to do it anymore.
Nope, they're done.
You know, unless they're really just going to be flag kids. Most of them are going to go to
Which some of
tackle.
them are.
Most are going to go to tackle or drop off of. They're going to focus on their other sport if they're a flag kid.
Yep.
Because it doesn't make sense for them.
Well, I also like I posted that shit last night about like, hey man, if you're a senior in high school and you're still playing 7-on-7, like what are you doing? I don't know. I just got tweaked with certain things of like people are like the mindset of like why to do it. I'm like what are you doing? Like nobody's gonna offer you, or you're not gonna get a better scholarship. Like, first off, it's spring, so like recruiting's over if you're a senior. You know what I mean? Like
it's only gonna maybe a D3 or
that's
something.
what I'm saying, like a last minute, but then it's like, hey, you're only here because we needed to fill a spot or somebody else dropped out, or like
Right.
and none of those guys are fucking watching your 7-on-7 highlights. Like,
well, that's my whole thing.
like you're trying to leverage this like it's a recruiting tool.
7-on-7, all it shows to college recruiters is your athleticism. Okay.
Right.
And if you're a quarterback, it shows your arm. Okay. So if that's good, that's fine. You know what I mean?
That is fine.
It's fine. You got them interested, but you're still gonna have to show them. It's different than running. This is why I say it's different than running a 40 or jumping. Okay. If you show that you're athletic, that's one qualifier. You could show that you could throw. That's a qualifier, right? As a quarterback, I'm going to need to see you in person. I'm going to need to see the game film. As an athlete, I'm going to need to see the game film, but I am still going to need to find out what your jump is on the vertical and what your 40 is before I do it. I don't care how many touchdowns you catch on 7-on-7. I don't know what competition you're playing against at that moment. I don't know if you happen to be going against their worst player or their best player. I don't know. Okay. Yep. And even if I do know, I don't know if he's sore that day.
Right. There's so many intangibles.
He's not into it. The guy you're going against, he's in a bad mood. It's totally different than an actual game. So the way I look at it, there's value in it. But the way I look at it is it's just a qualifier. That's all it is.
It's just a piece of the puzzle.
It's just a qualifier. I need to still know what you run a 40 and what your game film is.
And it still has to be good.
And it still has to be really good. Like if you can.
And then even if it is good, they still might not want you.
Dude, and I say this all the time, is because we coach flag watch. I watch a lot of kids who play soccer look really good at flag.
Really good.
Some of them, it translates into tackle. Some of them don't want no part of hitting, and it don't translate.
And ultimately, that's still a huge piece of this game, dude. Like,
listen, when you get plastered, like I use this as a quarterback, because everyone likes to work from the front. Oh, he throws touchdowns. Let's work from the back. When he gets plastered, does he want to get up?
Yep.
When he gets plastered, does he get up? That's
when
what
the
I look at.
linebacker comes A gap and he comes free
no one
and
blocks
he's sitting
him
in the pocket. Like, now what?
He gets plastered. You're yelling at him for not throwing it. He gets plastered. He's looking around like, what the F just happened? And he gets up and goes the next play, or goes back on defense or whatever, and keeps fighting. That's what I look at. Okay. Now,
how about like from the other side defensively, like, hey, I got to go tackle this guy.
Right.
Like,
I have to tackle another person. Are they willing to tackle? Are they willing to hit? Will they make progress when they get run over as a tackler?
Which happens way more than you doing it the other way.
Are they willing to keep trying? Yeah. Okay. Or do they say to themselves,
this ain't for me.
I call, we used to call it cutting deals. Are they cutting deals? You know what I mean?
Business decisions.
Are we making business decisions? Right. So
Like,
when
hey,
I look
what's
for
his
kids
name?
that don't
What's his
make
name?
business.
Yeah, like shit. Like when that running back breaks through the D line and the linebackers and it's 1-on-1 as a safety, like, do you want that smoke or do you not?
And there are kids. Listen, there are kids that might make business decisions in the beginning. Do they make progress out of that? Okay,
Correct.
I look at all these things, and that's what I look for. You know, when I'm coaching
agree.
kids. So other like people are like, oh, you pray. I praised this year our we used to call them the Beast Unit. Okay, it was really a wildcat quarterback that we rotated in and out. They both did a great job. They were studs. And then it was really like our third line unit. Okay.
Yeah, it was like, okay.
And I'm telling you, that group was the second leading group in touchdowns. And people would be like, why
How?
is that?
Because they bought in.
I'll tell you why. The first game, we didn't know what to do with them. The second game, they kind of got their feet wet. By the fourth game, those kids, they were always happy to be out there, and they gave everything they had. They were undersized. They gave everything they had. And they knew their job was to stay in front of people and move their feet. And and the back's job was to figure out a path, okay? And they did it. And I said, like, people are like, why you praise that group so much? I said, I praise that group.
They're working with the least amount and they're doing the most.
Right. Well, most of them are new to football. It doesn't mean in the long run, might be, some of those kids are going to be better than other kids, but a lot of them were new to football. Okay.
But you gave them something to buy into and they saw success with it and they ran with it. That's the biggest part. Like, these guys are going to be awesome. Like, hey, I'll work with that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I loved it. When they went in, dude. I mean, how about this? It is the game we lost to River Plaza. Their group was the only group to score a touchdown. So how about that? So it was.
Yeah, now they're trying to find money to go to Naples or some shit.
Yeah, I think they're succeeding.
I told Wamba, I'm like, buddy, are you serious? Like, what the fuck?
No, let's talk about that offline. But yeah, absolutely. Like but you know, like that's the stuff that I look at. I know you look at it too, right? As a coach, like.
Yeah, the development, like what's the progress like? Like, am I still coach? It's week. Okay, I'm coaching one thing in August. Now it's week 5. Am I still coaching the same shit? Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, are you willing to try something new? And are you willing to be coachable? Like, I told you this. Like, did you go and do it? Or are you just always going to revert back to your way of doing things, which might not work? You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, man, like, you might realize, like, after a while, like, man, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to show up here every day and have to do all this and whatever. That's okay too.
And with parents, I look at it like this, and you deal with this in high school too. Is much more than ever, I would say. With parents, hey, you know what? Are you committed to your kid getting better?
Right, because you have to do a lot. You have to do a lot.
Are you committed to when things don't go bad, things don't go well, like you lose a game, that you try to say, hey, okay, you didn't play as well. You had a rough game. Now, what's the next step? The next step is to get back there and get to work and get better.
You don't go in a tank.
Are you committed to that? Or are you committed to jumping on the bandwagon with everybody else when something bad happen? Like I say to parents,
it's like, oh, I got to go find another team or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, well, exactly. I say to parents, you know, in our case, I'll use this example. We lost to the team who's going to the Nationals, okay? We were really the second best team, okay? And our parents, they're like, some of them were ready to jump off a cliff. I'm like, dude, there was 29 other teams in our group that was not as good as us.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's look at everybody's upset after a loss. Okay? We get that. Nobody doesn't get that. Nobody gets that more than me. And there's no one more competitive than I am. I mean, people are competitive, but you are, but I'm saying, like, there are people think that they know what competitiveness is. Like,
no, they don't get it.
I'm fucking competitive. Like, I would rip your heart out if I was playing to win a game. I would rip
100%.
your heart out if that's what it meant. Like,
No
would
doubt.
you be willing to rip my heart out? You wouldn't be able to, because I would have already ripped yours out. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, people don't get that side of it
There's
either.
a difference. Like, there are people that are competitive, and there are people that, like, I stay out of being competitive as much as possible, because when I'm competitive, it's
Yes,
a
you know
different
when it
level.
hits. Oh,
Most
yeah,
of you
buddy.
are not ready for that. Most of you are
Right.
not ready for it, you know. But it's a thing like that. Listen, let's now think about the positives of what happened. You know,
Right.
the team got better. They went incredibly far. Yes, maybe next year we have an opportunity to be the best team. That could
Right.
be the case.
If you continue to stay committed to the process and you don't
Bingo.
like, all of a sudden want to bail because, oh my God, we lost. Like, okay, now go to another team and now you're 20 out of 29 and we're still, and now we go, you know what I mean? Like, figure
Well,
like
my whole thing is my whole thing, and you're obviously in high school, you're always focused this way. My whole thing is I want, if we had, we had 26 kids or 27 kids. If out of the 26 kids, let's say 20 of them were all moving in the right direction, and 6 for
you're
whatever
good.
reason were not, okay? And I don't even know what the number is, but I'm using it as an example. If the next year, say I have 26, if a couple people leave who are not moving in the right direction, I don't care how
We're
good.
okay.
We're okay, because next year my goal is if we had 20 out of 26, let's say, next year I want 24 out of 26.
Correct.
And then the
And
next
that's
year,
progress.
26 out of 26 in the
And
right
I think
direction.
that is and what some people view as, wow, this guy's a really good player or this or that. Dude, he might be a shitbird. The parents might be obnoxious. That's like poisoning the well. You know what? See you later, buddy. Because I'll take those guys on that beast unit that want to get better and want to play and do all that. And their parents are like, hey, coach, whatever you got to do, like, we're here for you. I'll take that every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always do this. Like, my big thing is always, no matter we win or we lose, I high five the kids on the way out. I don't care if the parents don't like me or what, like, because if they have a sourpuss on their face,
It's
like,
irrelevant. Like, this
I
kid's
don't
getting
care.
positivity from me leaving.
You
And that's
know,
what he's going to leave with. His last thought is going to be, hey, man, we work. You know what I mean? It's going to be some type of positive, whatever. Now, look, they may get in the car and the parents just, your coach sucks and he's an idiot, blah, 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 but they're going to still know there's going to be a little bit of something in their head going, you know what? Even though mom and dad are saying that, like, coach doesn't really like that. You know what I mean? Or like, hey, coach is like, whatever. And obviously that's harder with the younger ones. But look, I deal with it in high school.
it happens
all the time.
no, it's probably no different in high school. And
High school,
the
it's
way
the
I
same,
look at
buddy.
parents, I get it.
Yeah,
'cause I'm a
Georgia
parent.
just talked about it. You know what I
If you-
mean? Like,
if
you're
you-
gonna be a different way when you're a parent.
If you might come out, even as a parent, you might come out of the game and you might feel like, oh, coach didn't use my kid properly, or he didn't do a good job in that game. But then the next day or two, you think about it and you go, you know what? We're in the right direction. Everything's not going to be perfect.
It's
Okay.
really hard to win at any level, anytime.
You got to have
know what I mean? Like,
perspective.
dude, it's really hard. Yes. And I don't think that's
you don't
and
have
that
to
was
agree with
hard.
everything the coach says. You might think,
But I'll tell you what, that was something that was really, really hard for me to adjust to because I grew up around winning. Like, winning
That
was
is
the
hard for you.
expectation, dude. Winning was like, that was the fucking standard. So now, like, to see people be like, yeah, well, they tried. That's okay. Like, that took me a really long time to understand that, buddy, not everybody is like win or bust. You know what I mean?
have the opposite experience as a football player, at least football. I'll talk about because track and your basketball experience was different than your football experience. But like football experience wise, we have almost a polar opposite experience. Like, I guess
absolutely.
I won in college and a little bit, and we won a little bit in youth. But I'm talking about, like, for the most part, honestly, I would say average to below average on a lot of the teams I was on as a player. So
yes,
good year would be average. I mean, UConn, we had a couple of good years, but like a good year was 8-3. You know what I'm saying? Like that,
right?
It wasn't 11-0. So
and for me, a bad year was state
8-3.
semifinals.
Yeah, right. So totally different. And it's harder for you. Like, I bet you it's harder for you in the building process because of it, because
Oh
it's
yeah,
harder
yeah.
see this.
Because
It's harder because you're used to what it's like to get there, and
yep.
it's harder to see like a
And
group.
it's also hard to like explain it to guys that have never experienced it. Like if you don't know what winning is like they just don't get it. Like, oh, this is great. And you're like, buddy, there's a whole nother level of great. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
oh, we're in the state semifinals and we lost. I'm like, dude, that next step is unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be coaching on Thanksgiving Day, dude. Like, that's a great feeling.
Absolutely.
Is coaching in the morning on Thanksgiving Day or playing. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be at practice when it's fucking cold. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you this. A lot of people didn't agree with it. Now, DJ and Nympheus, obviously, and done, like, when I was an assistant coaching with those guys, you would say,
My God,
okay,
bro, those guys are rolling.
They're very tough coaches. They also are, I would say, much more professional. When Satterbrook was really good, when I was an assistant, when I first was an assistant, I could say that some of them were professional and some of them were lunatics. But I can tell you this, that they drove them so hard because Satterbrook kids needed it. Like,
right, that's what they had. You had
they
to.
needed it. Riverdale
It
kids
worked for them.
Riverdale kids and Old Japan kids, you could drive them incredibly hard, but they probably have parents that do process that well. At Satterbrook, not all their parents process that well. So they
even
would
had it.
drive them at a way that you could not. And my father did that on the track side of it. But in football, they would drive them from a mental standpoint
Right.
to the brink because
Absolutely. Because they needed it.
Because those kids
That was the only way to get
wanted
the
to
max out of them.
fold. They would want to fold.
Something gets hard, you get punched in the mouth, it's over. You're done. Like, I'm going to put my head in the tank. Oh, we're losing again. We're going to lose. Done.
They taught them how to fight through that,
Be
right?
resilient. Fight through that process. Like, hey, man, we're down 14-0 in the second quarter. Don't worry. We'll be good. You know what I mean? Like, and then once kids see that, I think a lot of times, right? Like, once they get through that and they realize, like, hey, man, being down 14-0, like, we win these games. They do it. That's why I always say winning breeds winning. You know what I mean? Like, and that's so much more than just what's on the scoreboard, dude. Like, you got to teach that winning breeds winning is resiliency and all that stuff. Like, knowing we're always going to be in a game. No matter what. The hardest thing
is to become to hardest when winning, when you're winning, it's once you get to the top, it's hard to stay at the top, but you could get consistency. The hardest thing is being horrible to getting to be really good. Yep. That's really hard because the mindset.
That's the whole thing. You got to change the mindset of like, hey, we're supposed to win this game.
It's the whole here we go again thing.
Here we go again. Like, oh, we're losing again. Okay, this is where we fold, or what's like. Or even like, you know, that's really hard too when it's like, all right, we're up 21-7. What's going to go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, the first time
you have to learn to be comfortable winning. And then when you're supposed to win, you take care of business. You don't play down. That's another one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then I think you get also and you need those one or two players.
Yep.
That things don't, like, they just fight through it.
Yeah.
Like, they've been on the losing side, but they still are mentally winners. I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
yeah, no, like they understand it, but that's also like where your team
and they got to get
conditioned and they got to rally the troops. Cause there's always going to be, look, it happens a lot of time with like the younger guys when they get into it, like they don't understand. There's almost like an unwritten code of how we do things here. And like, hey bro, like you don't do that. Like, hey, when this happens, like you don't pout. We just put our head down and keep going to work. And that's why the better teams are player led, not coach led. You know what I
remember
mean?
There were two aha moments at Powell Park. The first one was when we were 4-6, the third year. Third year. It might have been the fourth year. It was a long time, boy. No, it was the third year. Loss, JV, fourth year. Okay. we were 4-6. We were finally making progress. That team could have been a playoff team, but a couple of things went wrong. But the big win was a team beat us the year before, 48-0, literally 48-0. And we beat them that year 32-21. Okay. And they were a pretty good team that year. And so, but the aha moment in that game was when that team came right down the field and scored. We went right down the field and scored. Then they came right back down the field and scored again. And then we went right back down the field and scored. And then I saw them for the first time, like,
all right, we're good.
Okay, we could respond. Then they struggled back and forth some parts of that year. Then the next year, the team that went to state championship, their aha moment was the very first game they went into.
This is always nice when it happens in the first game.
Although most of the summer they won a 7-on-7 tournament in the summer.
Start to see some things.
That was when we
build on things.
We beat Bergen Catholic 7-7 tournament. That was a great moment. That was a fun moment. That was what I call a fun moment. I have to say it was the first time I ever see Bergen Catholic kids be like sour. They were waiting for us. Like, people wanted to fight us. I was like, why do you want to fight us? We beat you. Like,
that's the problem. Oh,
not the
coaches,
obviously. It was like parents. Like, like we did something wrong. Like, they're like,
because that's not supposed to happen.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, if we play a tackle game, you'd still beat us 50. Your lineman, But we play Hawthorne, and this game goes back and forth the whole game. But the key moment was really the very first play. So we're half of our coaching staff was now on Hawthorne staff. Okay, they left. They basically jumped off the ship because they didn't know if we could get there. They were now on Hawthorne staff, and they were great guys. Some of them worked for me. And they went to say hello to kids in the warm-up, like because they had coached them.
Yeah.
And the kids didn't say a word to him. They
just like, nope, not happening, brother. And you're like, oh.
And the first play, they ran a play, and we had a 300-pound center and nose guard, and he went and play at Columbia. But he was kind of notoriously he was just talented. He wasn't like the toughest guy, Derek. Like he ended up packing in after 2 years because he really wanted to really hang out and just be a smart kid.
Yeah.
But he was so big. He was 6'4", 305, and was an athlete. He was one of the kids that wouldn't talk to the assistants, which was shocking, by the way, from him, because he wasn't that kind of kid.
You're like, wow, this is out of
friendly
character.
Kid. He was a teddy bear. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, the first play, he blew over their center and tackled the guy in the backfield for a 3-yard loss. And I looked to our assistants, and I'm like, oh, we're a different team this year. This is a different team. Like, this is now. It didn't mean we're gonna. It went back and forth. Like, they were rolling points, we were scoring, and then in overtime, the kid who transferred in from Bergen Catholic to us in the year before, he had to sit out a year of ineligible. And he was from Bergen Catholic, and in overtime they threw a pass. He was a safety. He picked it off, took it to the house.
Nice.
And that one, I was like, you know what? It's not gonna be easy, but I was like, shoot, these kids at least they kind of get it. Easy. Like, you don't give up. They understood. Do not give up.
And that not easy is what prepares you to win, like, right now. Like, if you're still playing right now, like, all those kids, they understand, like, dude, we can't have penalties. We got to play clean. Like, everything is tight. They get it. But at this, like, they're comfortable being in those situations. That's why, if you're a constant, like, a playoff team, dude, you're going to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you're used to it. You're used to it.
That's how I felt we were. Like, every time we got in the playoffs, it wasn't like, look, remember, I always tell you this, right? Like, preseason, it's August. Everybody's got the poster, right, of like the seniors, the schedule, the whole thing. When you look towards the end of that season, if it says consolation game, you know what you're working with. The schools that win, NJSIAA round 1, NJSIAA round 2, state championship. The date is on there because that's the expectation. It's not a fucking consolation game. Like,
yeah, that's absurd. I don't know how
That's how I always used to gauge schools. I'm like, we're good.
I hated the consolation game. And it was funny. The first year I walked over to our AD and they knew, like, even though we were horrible that year, we were 2-7. And I come out of like I might have been our 7th or 8th game. And I walked off the field. I was just disgusted. And I said, cancel the consolation game.
Well, sometimes that's the best move.
Right. And he's like, really? He's like, we've never done that. I said, cancel it. I said, we're never moving forward.
Yep.
If this can be now with the team that was 4-6. Okay. Once we came back from JV, I was happy to have those kids to have consolation games until they got to the point till they were better, because I would say, this is not where we want to be. I said,
but this is something.
But you're making progress. And I said, but I knew the team that went to the state, they were not going to accept the console. They if they ended up being a bad team, like that team, they would have just ended the season and went home, because they knew that they were not gonna, that wasn't going to happen. But it's interesting, the psyche of all of it, like the psychological part of all of it, and like managing it. But you're right, winning begets winning. And it's just a matter of whether you're a championship team or not, but you're expecting to be there. And in close, like when you're a good team, is you're winning most of your close games when you're a good team. Right. When you're a great team, you're probably winning 9 out of 10 of your close games.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're a championship team, you win all your close games, all 100%. Of them. And that's. Like, you don't know what year, like, if you're always good, like, if you're always a playoff team, you're like, okay, we're either good, great, or exceptional. You don't know yet where you are, but you'll know by when you get in those close games. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think that's why, schedule-wise, you need to play tough teams so you can figure that out in the regular season. That way, when you get to the playoffs, it's like, all right, we're going to be all right. You know what I mean? At least. Like,
when you lose a tough game, you at some point in the schedule, when you lose a tough game, you know now where your flaws are.
Yep.
Like, I came at it like our Troy's club team, right? They rolled through this first tournament, and then they played in the championship game. They got smoked. Okay. Right. They came back. They were down a lot, and they came back. They fought, which they deserve a ton of credit for. And they fought, and we made a mistake. We didn't press them right away. Those are tactical things. But what you really quickly realize is that I said to the guys, head coach, I said, it's great that we played a really good team in the championship.
Right. Now they know where it's at.
Now we know our level. Now we know who can do certain things. Like our point guard and our 2 had, Troy's the point the other way. Troy's the quarterback of Middletown. He's the River Plaza quarterback. They dropped 20 of our, like, 26 points. Okay. And we realize now, okay, we got to get better production from the other wing elsewhere, and got to figure out how to do that. Right. We didn't. It's not that they can't do it. I think we didn't do a great job of putting them in.
It's just those other guys need to play their role, and we got to figure out how to make that happen.
We got to figure out what we want them to do, because those guys were lighting up the not as good teams, but we didn't put them in good positions, I think.
And then here's the other part, like, what happens when they're not lighting it up?
No, and they didn't. They struggled, but I think part of it was, I don't think we had any strategy. It's youth. It's like we were rolling, right? So you don't have a strategy when you're rolling early on.
Nope,
your strategy is we're killing everybody. So,
that's why you got to play those teams that put you in bad situations.
Now we know, okay, you know what? Like, these 2 guys probably could score. Wombo's going to be able to score.
But, like, guess what? Like, now you're going to play a team that's like, all right, we take away that. Like, where's the next option? Or how are we going to, get these guys shots when they can't get them on their own, or whatever it takes? You know what I'm saying?
Get those guys open. Right. We need to get them to – that group as a unit needs to contribute 10, right?
Yep.
Because
hey,
now
this guy needs to come off the bench and needs to grab me 5 rebounds, and you know what? Needs to hit a 3. Like, and then we're good. And then this guy going in, he's got to cover their best guy, because now if I put this guy on him, like now he's going to be spending most of his time playing defense. He ain't going to be able to score as much.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying, dude? Like, I get it. But that's why hoops is fucking fun like that.
Oh, well, that's my dude. I honestly, as much as
hoops is fun, bro. Hoops is addicting.
Hoops
too.
is so much fun because it's like, that's what I try to get in these guys' head.
It's even more of a chess match, dude.
Like, let's think about, okay, if the point guard starts to get tired, right, because he's covering the point.
That's hard. That's why Michael Jordan was great. That's why Michael Jordan was better than LeBron, because he played fucking defense.
You exactly. So do we need to at some point say, okay, let's swap the 1 and the 2 for a couple of possessions?
Yep.
Right.
So give him a break.
So he gets a little. He's still in there, but he gets a little break. Do we have a guy that could take him out and not all of a sudden turn over the ball? Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden now all the momentum swings the other direction. Like, hey, there's a minute left in the half. Can I take him out and still be okay? Right, where they're not going to go on a fucking quick 6-point swing.
Absolutely. And I think those are the cool things. I think that's what makes hoops cool, dude. Like,
that's where the assistant coach role plays such an awesome, fun thing, because like, hey man, you're responsible for subs, and it's like, all right, dude, here we go. Like, hey, you got to go in, grab me get 2 steals, 5 rebounds, and knock down and get a putback, and we're good. Or hey, get in there, lock that guy down, and then you know what, like, hit these 2 free throws, like, and we're good. And then in and out. Like, I always loved that part of hoops.
Hoops is fun. It's like it really and I love it. That's what I love about it being a football guy is I love to me like, dude,
the schematics of it and all that shit.
Schematics. The offensive and defensive part, like I like the defense.
The defensive part's the best, bro. Because look, if I can shut that guy down, like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, if I can shut this dude down, like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me is so amazing.
We need to put a different guy on the point.
Absolutely.
Even though one guy brings up the ball, does he need to be somewhere else on D?
Correct.
Because do we need
just because he's the best? You're like, you know what I mean? Like, look,
I'll take handler.
Even though he's the ball hand, like, now look, your ball hand, like, it doesn't have to be a scorer, right? It has to be a guy that can control the pace and understand, like, all right, we got to push it here, we got to pull it back here, like, set the whole thing up and kind of go. Like, dude, I love that shit.
That's the most awesome thing about, like, hoops is like one of those sports now that I'm in it that I'm like, oh man,
dude, it's the best.
Like, I wish I coached it when I was like a young coach, because I would have loved coaching it. Like, I might have gone a bit of hoops coach, dude.
Dude, this is awesome. You're gonna start to see this, dude. Like, Shore Sports Insider just put out all this stuff. Like, it's just funny. Our guys are everywhere. Like, Jameer Lane Bailey from Red Bank, co-defensive player of the year. Joey Davis, player of the year. It's just the names. Dude, guys are everywhere.
We have to jump on Instagram and start posting it all.
Gonna have to start posting all this stuff to see like how many of our beast guys are every. I mean, shit, we got freaking guys in college that are, New England players of the year, for Christ's sakes.
Oh, I know. And you know what the great thing about what we do, which I think we've been true on, which costs us players a lot, but we're true on it, is like, hey man, like we know we're just a part of it. Like, we want you to come and compete, have a good time, get after it, and go back to your team. Like,
yep, that's it.
That you know what I mean? Like, do we want to win when we're there? Absolutely. Do we want you to compete to your best ability?
But we're not. But the winning will not sacrifice. Like,
yeah, exactly. We don't want you married to. We also, if you run track, go run track. Like Falzon, we would only have him for half the thing, because he'd be running track, dude. So,
he's
like,
just killing it. He's a stud.
Dude. Dude, we knew it. Dude, remember when
he also understood, like, this is where I need to go. This is the level I want to play at, because I can go play. I'm not going to have to push with. Same with Kyle Various, like, doing good stuff at St. Anne's. Like, these guys all understood their level of where it is, right? Like,
Right,
I'm
and then
gonna
you
go
have
here,
Michael Ford, who's a mega stud. You
and
know,
I'm gonna like, and like, you know, even like, oh shit, what's his name? Who's that? Maris, DeCaro, Jeremy. Like, coach, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna work really hard. Like, the expectation wasn't astronomical. They understood the process of like,
Correct.
I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna work, and then I'll be. They didn't jump ship, right? Like,
correct. That I like.
Amen, brother.
I like that we emphasize. You know, I emphasize that, and like, it's more like, hey, dude, congratulations for your success. It's like,
right,
you
like,
know,
dude,
like,
D'Alessandro, like,
awesome,
first team all NJAC, like as a safety at TCNJ, like, dude,
awesome,
right?
it's awesome. All right, go have a good day.
Tomorrow we got Brad Fortney, 10 a.m.
I got a 5-minute thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I'll let you run.
Yeah,
All
hit
right.
me up.
All right, bye.